260.
Practice happening here at Circuit of the Americas, just the first group. We actually have 2 practice sessions each for Group A and Group B. Shane Van Gisbergen currently leads Alex Bowman and Connor Zilich from Circuit of the Americas. This is PRN, the Performance Racing Network.
If you have a chance to make a difference in a kid's life, you need to take full advantage of that opportunity.
For those kids to know somebody has their back, somebody is caring about them, thinking about them when they feel like nobody is.
Anything that I can do now to support Speedway Children's Charities, I do, because I've seen the work firsthand.
We owe it to children, no matter where they come from.
Unfortunately, there is no end to some of the terrible atrocities in our world. Speedway Children's Charities can feel really good that we are getting the most good out of every dollar that's given. At Speedway Children's Charities,
our mission
is simple.
Help every child we can.
Because all children
deserve joy
and hope
and love.
And if one child is still in need,
then there's still work to do.
Because their future is our future.
And there's still so much they can teach us.
Find out more at speedwaycharities.org.
Group 1 practice for the Echo Park Automotive Grand Prix still continuing here at the Circuit of the Americas. Shane Van Gisbergen, the quickest so far, 1 minute 38.855 seconds. That's an average speed of 87.401. Alex Bowman, Connor Zilich, second and third. A.J. Allmendinger with Austin Cindric, fourth and fifth. Sixth, Daniel Suarez. Then Noah Gregson, seventh. Eighth, Ty Gibbs. Ninth, Justin Haley. 10th is William Byron. Byron, by the way, is going for his third consecutive pole here at COTA as he takes the top qualifying spot in 23 and a year ago in 2024. The other 2 pole sitters at this racetrack, Tyler Reddick and Ryan Blaney.
Let's go survey what's happening down on pit road with the race teams, and we'll start things off with Wendy Venturini.
Yeah, Alex Bowman's been out there second fastest on this chart. Keep in mind, Alex Bowman has never won at COTA. He finished second, but his best average finish is right here at this racetrack with 4.25. So he typically runs up front. He also won the Chicago Street Race last year, so he's some street cred at these road courses. But right now for Alex Bowman, it's a little bit of a loose condition for him, especially late in all of the braking zone. So that's now 200 cars I've reported on that are in Group 1 that both have loose conditions right off the truck.
All right, Heather DeBow.
And for A.J. Allmendinger, who's currently fourth on the board, he's been known for his road course prowess, but he is really struggling inside that race car. In fact, he told his team that he didn't feel like the sim really helped because he said it's really rough out there, it's shattering the tires, and he's completely sideways. He said the rights are worse than the lefts when referring to the turns, so he's in on pit road right now. They're making some adjustments. They're actually going to raise that car up off the ground a little bit to see if that helps with that rough handling ride for A.J. Allmendinger.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you, Heather. Thank you very much, Wendy. Cars are going around the track right now, but let's introduce all of our turn announcers we have around this 2.4-mile circuit. As they come across the start-finish line, and I'm not going to say down the front straightaway, Mark, because they actually go up the front straightaway quite a bit. As they go up the front straightaway, that's where we have an action portion of this racetrack, and that's where we have our own Rob Albright in turn 1. What's it look like out there to you, Rob?
As they go past the start-finish line, I pick up the call, and it is then about 133 feet. That's 13-story climb to turn number 1. It's a flat corner. It's a left-hander, 120 degrees. Now, if you're like me and you're a little bit spatially challenged, a 90-degree turn is a quarter of a circle, 180-degree turn is a half circle. This is just a bit more than a quarter of a circle. They're all the way down from 5th at the start-finish line to 1st gear, and then they have to go back up through the gears as they head downhill toward turn number 2. Turn number 2 is a 60-degree right-hand corner, and if you watched Xfinity Series practice and qualifying yesterday, inside the race car, it looks like it is off camber. It actually looks like the turn falls away from you rather than being banked in the direction that would make it more comfortable. But as they exit turn number 2, I'll drop the call to the pride of Atlanta, Georgia, Doug Turnbull.
And good to be here back in Austin with you, Robin. This is going to be a fun part of the course for 2 different reasons. I call turns 3 through 6A. Turns 3, 4, 5, and 6 are the notorious S's, and I say notorious because drivers have gotten dinged in all series here for driving too far or cutting the course. Track limits will be discussed a lot. And basically the way that a driver can get penalized is if they drive over the rumble strips at the apex of each of these S's with all 4 tires. Now, NASCAR did add some barriers way outside of these just to help in case somebody gets far off course, but they're still going to be calling penalties like they did in Xfinity Series practice and qualifying yesterday. Basically, it goes the drivers go left, right, turns 3 through 6 here. It's an eggshell under their throttle, and it's really not a great passing zone. But why are they trying to get all of this space squeezed out of these spots? So they can carry a bunch of momentum as they climb the hill a little bit to the most talked about change in this shortened course this year, turn 6A, which turns most of that 180-degree angle, if you will. The cars are almost off camber, and they go, because this is a cut through to the other side of the track, from new pavement put down last year to the old pavement. And that's going to make grip tough when they exit off of turn 6A where they're down into low second gear. They exit straight off of it and almost right next to a wall. And then once they get out to that, they'll get about halfway down a short chute, and I'll hand it off to Pat Patterson and Alex Hayden.
All right, thank you very much, Doug. Good evening or good afternoon, everybody. Happy race day. Yeah, that new little short chute, it's interesting. I had a lot of guys talk about the fact that it's like Chicago. You got walls on either side. When Doug lets them go, we'll get them as they exit 6B. There is a bump right at the exit of 6B, a pretty significant one that you'll hear us talk about throughout the afternoon. Sometimes can upset the car. You're wound up RPM-wise right as you exit that bump, and it can actually shoot you into the grass area of what used to be the long backstretch here. We've only got about half of that to work with as the cars will exit there, catch third gear. They'll come down to what is turn number 12. Turn 12 is a hard left-hand corner that gets you into what we refer to as the stadium area, stadium course, part of the race course down here. You'll leave your car in second gear. You'll exit turn number 12, let the car veer out to the right, pull it back over to the left to set up for turn number 13, tight little right-hand corner. Then turn 14, which in my opinion is not really a turn. It's more of a rumble strip that you hit, and you really kind of go down and you set your car up for turn 15. 15, hard left-hand corner, lets the car drift out again to the right, second gear corner, and right about the time they get to the Echo Park Bridge, there's a crossover bridge here in the stadium course. I'll be handing it off to my buddy Alex Hayden, and he'll take them the rest of the way around.
Thanks, Pat. Turns 16, 17, and 18, continuous right-hand turns. However, there are nuances in there. Turn number 16 goes underneath the Echo Park Automotive Bridge. You have to do your first of 2 apexes of turn 16 right at the base of that bridge. That can create some problems for these drivers as they try to keep the momentum of their car wound up. A very, very short straightaway will get you back into turn number 17, also part of this big sweeping set of corners. Then you work your way to what we call a kink, or turn number 18 to driver's right. That's where you have to keep the momentum up to set up for a downhill run to turn number 19. That's a left-hand turn. It's 90 degrees. We've been watching here in this first group of cars. A lot of these drivers have been taking their cars over the brightly painted red and white rumble strips to driver's left, right at the apex of turn 19. Some of these drivers are actually cutting the dirt and kicking dirt up in the air and going out onto the race surface. A lot of drivers then on exit will let their car drift way wide, go out to past the red and white rumble strips to the paved runoff area. A good 2.5 car widths off the racing surface. They keep the momentum wound up there before standing on the brakes and getting set for the left-hand turn number 20, over 90 degrees on turn 20. Once you think you've turned the car enough, you better keep turning it because you're going to have to do that. It's all about getting a good exit off turn number 20 to get you back to that long front stretch.
Thank you very much, Alex. Thank you very much, Pat, Doug Turnbull, Rob Albright. Group A practice 1 is complete. These are 20-minute sessions in these practices, and Mark Shane Van Gisbergen, top of the chart, followed by Alex Bowman, Connor Zilic in his Cup debut, A.J. Allmendinger, Austin Austin Cindric, the top 5. 6 was Daniel Suarez. 7th, Noah Gragson. 8th, Ty Gibbs. Justin Haley, 9th, and William Byron, 10th.
Chase Briscoe, 11th. 12th, Chris Buescher. Josh Berry was 13th. Ty Dillon, 14th. Then it was Cole Custer, 15th. 16th in Group 1 practice is Ryan Preece, followed by Brad Keselowski in 17th. 18th, Eric Jones. Cody Ware in 19th.
When we come back, the first practice session for Group B, we're going to bring in our turn announcers once again and get some play-by-play action going here in practice for the Echo Park Automotive Grand Prix at Circuit of the Americas.
This is Kyle Petty for Echo Park Automotive, and I'm here to tell you why you should shop Echo Park before you buy a car, truck, or SUV. Over half of inventory at Echo Park is priced below $25,000, and car for car, truck for truck, Echo Park Automotive's pricing is $3,000 less than the competition. Maybe that's why Echo Park has over 95,000 five-star reviews. Echo Park Automotive is built to make sure you drive away happy. It's even in their name, Echo Park Automotive. Every car, happy owner. The official used car dealer of Speedway Motorsports.
Hi, it's PRN's Brad Gilley. Did you know you could take PRN with you anywhere? That's right. By downloading the PRN mobile app, you can listen to our live race broadcast from anywhere. Make sure you don't miss a second of the action from the track. Download today for station listings and on-demand access to your favorite studio shows like Fast Talk, The Pit Reporters, or Garage Pass. Get all the latest racing information at your fingertips with the PRN mobile app. Download today, available in the Apple App Store and on Google Play.
More practice and then qualifying for the Echo Park Automotive Grand Prix still to come from the Circuit of the Americas on a sunny Saturday. This is PRN, the Performance Racing Network.
I'm PRN's Doug Turnbull, co-host of the 5 to Go podcast, a weekly deep dive into 5 motorsports issues. Devin Kupka gives the Gen Z view.
One thing that I've never seen before, when the cars got 4 wide, everybody stood up cheering.
And championship-winning mechanic Dan Elliott leans on his decades in the garage and promoting.
Unless everybody is aware of the rules, then no, it's not fair for everyone.
Listen to the 5 to Go podcast on GoPRN.com and subscribe on Apple and Spotify.
Denny Hamlin slides up. He gets into the fence a little bit off of turn 3. We will see if he is able to sustain that.
So suddenly things change dramatically with the 2 youngsters for JGR. Now to the veterans that are occupying the top 2 spots in turn 3.
Hamlin out front for the 11th time today.
Denny Hamlin gives up the lead.
Side by side going into one. Truex down low. Hamlin up high.
3 wide in front of him. On the bottom is Chastain. Up top is Austin Dillon with Gilliland in the middle. It's Bristol, baby.
Welcome back to Circuit of the Americas. This is the first practice session for Group B. Heading across the start-finish line right now, our reigning Cup Series champion, Joey Logano, as he makes his way up the hill toward Rob Albright.
Reigning and 3-time champion, I might add. He'll go down through the gears, 4th gear, 3rd, 2nd, all the way to 1st. The bottom of turn number 1 comes to a literal point. The outside, nice wide arc. He'll use the middle lane as he darts now down the hill and into turn number 2.
And goes off camber, as Rob mentioned before, in turn 2. And then through the S's, it's not full speed as Joey Logano goes over the turn 3 rumble strips to the right, left through turn 4, right through turn 5, right through turn 6. And he's going to then get on the brakes right here as I speak into turn 6A with Kyle Larson trailing him here into the short chute cut through.
Logano now work his way over to 6B, which exits on to the backstretch here in his number 22 Pennzoil 4. Works his way down here to turn number 12. That's a left-hander. Reach down, grab a gear, let the car drift out to the right here now. We'll pull it back hard to get set up for turn number 13. Here's Logano now in the middle of turn number 13. Lets the car roll smoothly over to 40 Echo Park Bridge.
As he breaks his way into turn number 16, Logano, that yellow and red Ford Mustang Dark Horse, has opened up and significant gap over Kyle Larson, who's trailing some 15 car lengths. They make their way now into the left-hand turn number 19. Logano kicks up that dust. So does Kyle Larson. That apex of turn 19 starting to get a little bit dirty down there with all these drivers running over that dirt.
Now you can tell this is their first lap on the new circuit. They're trying to feel things out. Logano overall 22nd fastest compared to Shane Van Gisbergen way up on top, significant difference in timing. But again, they should be getting a little faster as they get the tires up to temp and get a little more accustomed to this new course as well.
Rob, the inaugural COTA win is in front of you.
Yeah, it is Chase Elliott. He'll now make his way down turn 2. One thing that we saw yesterday in practice and qualifying for the Xfinity Series cars, a lot of wheel hop getting into turn number 1. Now, that's a brake bias issue typically. We haven't seen any of that thus far in either the first session or the first few laps of session number 2. Down there, how do they look, Doug Turnbull?
Yeah, Chase Elliott is entering turn 6A right now with Tyler Reddick, who won here 2 years ago in tow. Elliott exits into 6B.
Yeah, 6B will make you that left-hand corner. Nice and smooth for Elliott. Right behind him, maybe about 12 car lengths back, is Tyler Reddick. Reddick will hustle up now to try to get to the bumper of the number 9 car, following him through turn at number 12, which is the left-hander. Over here to the right hand now, Elliott will wind that steering wheel back around to the right. He'll basically just touch the rumble strips in 14, work his way down to 15. And Tyler Reddick in tow there, maybe about 8 to 12 car lengths back as those cars head to the Echo Park Bridge.
Two drivers that know how to win on road courses, giving each other some tips as they work their way around this track under their second, now third lap here in their practice session. Chase Elliott maintains a good 20 car length advantage on Tyler Reddick. They set up for turn number 19. Both drivers get through there cleanly. Chase Elliott way out into the gray asphalt runoff to driver's right. They go the way back to turn 20.
Looks like Bubba Wallace got off course just a little bit. He's corrected that number 23 mobile Toyota Camry and is back out on the circuit. So far in this group, Mark, Austin Cindric is the fastest, followed by Kyle Larson. But Austin Cindric, 5th quick overall. Or Austin Cindric in the first group, Mark?
Right, he was in the first group. Larson, it looks like, actually Chastain is going to be the quickest, I believe, in this group, followed by Larson. And one thing it looks like with Kyle, this is 2.4 miles, the new course. He's doing everything to make it 2.37, 2.36. He is spending a lot of time on the other side of the rumble strips, including the straightaways. He's been way off the racetrack.
Doug Turnbull, I want to survey you out there because where we're seeing a lot of cars cut the course, if you will. And I know we talk a lot about track limits and having 4 tires or, not off of the course and all of that. What are you starting to see as far as drivers trying to straighten it out as much as they can?
From the very moment we dropped the green flag in practice, to me, I'm glad it's not my call, guys, because it looks to me like every car is off course. They just barely get the last little side of the tire that they're allowed to have on the right side of the rumble strips there. They're right on the edge trying to make these S's look more like an I as best as they can. And then, of course, if there's any interruption to it, if they got to racing, which this is practice, if somebody, say, blows through that part of the course, you might be following them and actually accidentally get drawn into a penalty yourself. And what I'm seeing here, guys, you talked about Kyle Larson. He is hounding Joey Logano on this course. I saw Tyler Reddick hounding Chase Elliott, so they could draw each other to mistakes, even in practice, possibly.
Kyle Larson now has moved up to 4th fastest overall behind Shane Van Gisbergen, Alex Bowman, and Connor Zilic, who's standing by with Heather DeBow.
Yeah, Connor Zilic outside of the car, and of course this is his first time behind the wheel of this Sprint Cup Series car. I heard you telling your crew chief exactly what the handling was throughout the entire course. So what would you say is your biggest area of concern?
Over a long run, we really started to get, really free and kind of struggled with lateral grip. So we're going to make some changes that I know will help. And but yeah, it was really cool to get my first feel of the Red Bull Cup car. So grateful for Trackhouse for letting me do this. It's been a lot of fun leading up to it, and hopefully we can go out and compete tomorrow.
Now, you knew this day was coming. You had it on like a bucket list of things that you wanted to accomplish in your career. What was the first thought that went through your head when you woke up this morning?
Yeah, it was, just life doesn't feel real. It was really cool to, just be in this position at this age, and I'm really grateful for it and excited. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Have fun out there.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Heather DeBow. Connor Zilic, obviously a wildly talented driver. In fact, Alex Hayden, who is up in the tower right now covering the section that wraps it around, you also had the opportunity to cover one of Connor Zilic's first NASCAR wins, in fact, in his first Xfinity start at Watkins Glen.
Yeah, it was a true privilege to watch him work that track up in upstate New York, much like what we've seen here not only today but yesterday in the NASCAR Xfinity Series practice and qualifying. He is immensely talented, and he's one of those drivers that has such a feel for a race car, and I think more importantly, the footwork that Connor Zilic uses on road courses, turning both left and right, on the brake, off the brake. Then he works the gear shifters with 5 speeds here in the NASCAR Cup Series, 4 in the NASCAR Xfinity Series car. It is quite the amount of work for a NASCAR driver to work a race car around, especially on a technical course, much like Circuit of the Americas. And Connor Zilic is loaded with talent, and he's proving it yet again.
Michael McDowell appears to be off the pace just a bit on the track. He has just run the 12th fastest overall speed, so he's got a little bit of giddy up and go in that race car, but right now might have a little problem. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, it's interesting as people go around this 2.4-mile circuit. We see this a lot in road course practice. Sometimes they might be out there on a flyer lap, or they might want to take a flyer lap, and you see them run over just a little bit, or maybe they know someone who's coming up behind him who is on a flyer lap. They might move over, let someone go by, get themselves reset, and literally hit it. In fact, we're not keeping time right now at the start-finish line on the front straightaway, Mark, because the way qualifying is going to happen, and to keep them from having to run another 2.4 miles around before they get back to pit road, we actually have a timing line right there in between turns 18 and 19 before they actually would make the left-hand turn onto pit road.
Yeah, that way they can do just that after their lap. They have 2 sets of Goodyear tires for these practice sessions. And then, of course, they get to bolt something on, a fresh set on for qualifying. And again, at this point, Shane Van Gisbergen, Alex Bowman, Connor Zilic from Group 1 have run the top 3 laps. Then it's Larson, followed by Allmendinger from the first practice, Cindric from the first practice, Suarez, Noah Gragson currently 8th, Ty Gibbs, Ross Chastain very, very quick here in group number 2.
Right now with group number 2, we're about halfway through their first practice session. We'll come back and cover the cars around this 2.4-mile circuit here as we get set for qualifying today for the Echo Park Automotive Grand Prix.
Hey, Joey Logano here, the driver of the number 22 Hunt Brothers Pizza Ford Mustang. What can a 3-time champion do by the end of this ad? A pit stop and grabbing a hunk of pizza at the closest convenience store near you. To find a location, visit huntbrotherspizza.com.
By downloading the free PRN mobile app, you can listen to all of our live race broadcasts anywhere. You'll also have easy access to all of our award-winning studio shows. Get all the latest racing information at your fingertips with the PRN mobile app.
It's not about the cars, the speed, the action. It's not about the party or the long weekend. It's about them, the ones that gave everything. This Memorial Day weekend, we honor the fallen at America's Home for Racing. The 66th running of the Coca-Cola 600.
In Las Vegas, pedal to the metal is all we know, on or off the racetrack. Whether you're there for NASCAR, live music, incredible restaurants, or world-class entertainment, Vegas is the town that never slows down. With so many ways to play and so much to explore, Las Vegas encourages you to go all out. Head to visit LasVegas.com, LasVegas.com to get more information. We return to the Circuit of the Americas in just a moment. You're listening to PRN, the Performance Racing Network.
Time to pull down on the handle and start rolling them here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway.
The green flag flies at the Atlanta Motor Speedway.
We're about to contest the Coca-Cola 600. We're racing at Texas Motor Speedway.
Now Keselowski goes way up the racetrack.
Here comes Harrison Burton. He rockets to the lead.
Trouble. Car goes around. It's Chris Buescher.
Joey Logano battles to the outside. They come back to the start-finish line.
Bubba Wallace looks inside. And now here's Byron. Takes a quick left to block him. They head back to 1.
Here goes Ross Chastain. He's going to the bottom of the racetrack.
Bubba goes up. Blaney hits the outside wall off of turn 2.
Can Christopher Bell do anything with him? He gets down to the bottom of the racetrack.
Briscoe dives to the bottom of the racetrack. Side by side. They get loose. They spin. Now Tyler Reddick does a 360. So does Briscoe.
Heading into turn number 7 as he wraps it around. The crowd is cheering for Daniel Suarez here on this final lap.
Allmendinger gets into Alex Bowman. Ross Chastain back out to the front for the final time.
This is PRN.
back here at Circuit of the Americas, where it's 6 minutes and 10 seconds remain in Group 2 for Cup Series practice. Talk through some of our fast contenders out there. Kyle Larson currently 4th on the practice chart, but he wasn't as fast the first time he went out there. He was a little bit slow in turns 12, 13, 14, according to crew chief Cliff Daniels. He said that's where we really need to pick up some time, but his time was really good through the carousel. So Kyle Larson went back out there, repeated some more laps, and immediate feedback from crew chief Cliff Daniels, 12, 13, and 14, much faster for him. A guy that's struggling just a little bit, Ryan Blaney, he's 19th on this practice chart. The spotters are telling him all the other faster cars are going wider, especially into turn 1. A lot of the turns are struggling for Ryan Blaney, getting wide enough, but it was most time lost in turn 1 for him, guys.
Thank you very much, Wendy. Doug Turnbull, I want to throw it to you. We have a couple of Toyota teammates out there going through the S's right now.
Denny Hamlin and the car he owns, Bubba Wallace, right behind him, are coming up the hill through turn 6, and now down into first gear, hard left-hander into turn 6A, where they come into the view of you, Pat Patterson.
Yeah, watching these two teammates kind of work it out here. Denny Hamlin with a quick exit off of 6B. Now these guys get it woed up, and it'll be Bubba trying to move around and take the lead in front of Hamlin, which he'll do. They exit the corner there in turn 12 up to 13. Bubba to the inside now. Front left tire on the rumble strips. Let the car drift out wide. Now back to the right here in 14. Denny Hamlin just following in the tire tracks. Bubba sets up quickly for turn number 15. Once again, those two cars exit 15, headed to the bridge.
Yeah, it looks like Denny Hamlin's back end of his race car not as stable as Bubba Wallace's is. Looks like when Hamlin gets back on the throttle, the back end wants to kick sideways. Hamlin again through turns 16, 17, and 18, really feathering the throttle as he now loses more ground to Bubba Wallace.
And they're going to come up to the left-hander of turn number 20. It's a little bit of an uphill climb before making that left-hand 90-degree corner. This brings them to the front straightaway here at Circuit of the Americas. It is a section of racetrack where they go wide. In fact, Hamlin, a little bit exiting that corner, cuts through the grass. They're going to stay out there under fire, Rob.
Wendy mentioned that Ryan Blaney was having difficulty entering turn number 1. We see a number of different lines utilized coming into that corner. Some drivers turn in quicker than others. Those that stay on the throttle and outside turn it into a 90-degree corner. And now the two teammates, 23-11, they head off of turn number 2.
And they're going to get into 3 right now. Right, left, right, and left. That's what Bubba Wallace is doing here through turns 3 through 6 of the S's as he gaps his team owner Denny Hamlin there. Bubba Wallace on his first practice lap at speed as he enters turn 6A. He actually got off course earlier, but he's gotten it corrected.
Bubba now will try to avoid that bump that exit of 6B. You can actually see the car kind of jump around there. Midway down the backstretch, he comes to turn at number 12. Hamlin about 12 car lengths back behind his teammate now. Wallace lets the 2311 machine work its way over to the left to set up for the right-hander, turn number 13. Once again, Hamlin not making any real progress, trying to catch his teammate. Down here into 15 they go. That is Bubba Wallace. Front left tire hits that rumble strip, and he exits. And will head up to the bridge, dragging his teammate right behind him.
Bubba Wallace keeps her wound up on this long sweeping right hand, double apex turn 16. Now a quick tug of the steering wheel, back to driver's right. That red, white, and blue Mobil 1 Toyota. Bubba Wallace smooth again, downhill, under braking. Now goes over all the red and white rumble strips in turn 19 as he heads for 20.
Right now, just under 2 minutes, 30 seconds left in this 20-minute practice session for Group 2 for the Echo Park Automotive Grand Prix. As Wallace goes by, he is 18th overall. Ross Chastain just made another lap. He is currently 10th overall, second fastest in this Group 2. Kyle Larson continues to be the quickest in this group, currently 4th overall.
And Mark, I think it's really important that right now at this point we're talking about the drivers from Group A and Group B combined, because qualifying, new road course qualifying rules here in 2025. There have been times where we've done various things, Mark, where we have gone out there and we've had a time group, and then we've had the top 10 go out for a second timed run. Group A might have lined up on the inside, Group B lined up on the outside. Well, now we just have one 20-minute session for each group when we go out to qualify. Group A will go out for 20 minutes. Group B will go out for 20 minutes. It will be the total combined time that will determine the starting lineup. So we might have the 3 fastest cars in Group A. They're going to start 1, 2, 3. Then the next one from Group B will start fourth, and the next two could be from Group A, starting fifth and sixth, and so on. So as we get into this, now we're talking about combined time. And Group A seems to be the fastest, or at least the fastest drivers so far, Mark, have been in Group A with Shane Van Gisbergen leading that way.
And they got a chance to go out on a racetrack that was a little bit cooler, the conditions a little bit different, should be a little more equal when we get to qualifying. And by the way, if you are having a hard time staying up with that, there will be a test, or at least a small quiz before we start qualifying a little later on this afternoon.
Yeah.
Or this no, it's
morning. We're still morning everywhere.
Morning. We're still morning everywhere.
Yes.
I just want to make sure. Yeah, there we go.
That's right. Here in Austin, Texas, we're in the Central Time Zone. We often talk about things in the Eastern Time Zone because, hey, I could say for someone who lives in the Central Time Zone, Mark, I can do the math. When people say Eastern Time Zone, I know it's 1 hour difference, and I would imagine the same holds true for folks who live in the Mountain or the Pacific Time Zone as well.
And again, now we're just under 20 seconds. We're about to see the red and black flags displayed by our NASCAR starter, so that we're going to bring an end to this session, and then, of course, we'll get to the real McCoy qualifying for the Echo Park Automotive Grand Prix. Fifth time that this race is going to be run here in Austin, Texas.
Yeah, and it's fascinating, too, as the red and black flag comes out. We have two more practice sessions, a Group A session and a Group B session, 20 minutes once again. But, Mark, right now, from Shane Van Gisbergen, the fastest out there, his time 101 seconds, .138. Cody Ware is 37th. He's the last one on the track. He actually had an issue in Group A practice, 102.813 seconds. So the difference between first and last is only 1.6 seconds. That's over the course of 2.4 miles. We're going to have a little bit of a reset here. We're going to send Group A back out there. Wendy Venturini, Heather DeBow covering things for us on pit road and qualifying today. Rob Albright, Doug Turnbull, Pat Patterson, and from the Motor Racing Network, Alex Hayden joining us here covering the play-by-play action out on the 2.4-mile circuit. For Mark Darrow, my name is Brad Gilley. We will come back with the second round of practice here at Circuit of the Americas.
Madame Giselle senses something in your future.
Is my boyfriend going to propose?
It's a big storm.
Wait, we're going to get in a fight?
No, a literal storm. Wind, heavy wind. I see a tree falling on your RV.
Oh, that's fine. I'm covered by Progressive. So, is my boyfriend there? Maybe on one knee?
The entire roof is crushed.
So, no ring.
Be prepared for the unexpected with Progressive, a leader in RV insurance. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Product features subject to policy terms and may not be available in all states or for all vehicles and covered selections.
Hey folks, it's Doug Rice. Did you know you can take PRN with you anywhere? By downloading the PRN mobile app, you can listen to our live races just about any place on the planet, and you will not miss a second of the action. Plus, you can hear our shows like the fantastic editions of Fast Talk, plus Brett McMillan on the Pit Reporters and Mark Darrow with Garage Pass. Get all the latest racing information right at your fingertips with the PRN mobile app, available at the Apple App Store and on Google Play.
Coming up next from Circuit of the Americas, the second round of practice as we get ready to qualify for the Echo Park Automotive Grand Prix. This is PRN, the Performance Racing Network.
Hi, it's PRN's Brad Gilley. Did you know you could take PRN with you anywhere? That's right. By downloading the PRN mobile app, you can listen to our live race broadcast from anywhere. Make sure you don't miss a second of the action from the track. Download today for station listings and on-demand access to your favorite studio shows like Fast Talk, the Pit Reporters, or Garage Pass. Get all the latest racing information at your fingertips with the PRN mobile app. Available in the Apple App Store and on Google Play.
Hey, I'm Corley Joy for Speedway Children's Charities. The mission for Speedway Children's Charities has remained true since its founding almost 40 years ago. To care for children in educational, financial, social, and medical needs in order to help them lead happy and productive lives. So many children have benefited from our group in the past, but we need your help now more than ever. There's so much we can do when we all join together, so let's start today. Visit speedwaycharities.org to learn more. I thank you in advance for your help.
Welcome back to Circuit of the Americas. Brad Gilley along with Mark Garrow. The Group A cars are going back out for their second round of practice. And let's go survey our turn announcers. And Rob Albright, we'll start with you. One thing that we're noticing from here in the booth, there are a lot of tire marks on the racetrack. I know we have a softer tire, the one that was used last year at Watkins Glen, but also a lot of it is also off the course as well. So, Rob, what are things looking like for you after one round of practice?
You know, a lot of turns on road courses, a line will begin to materialize because that's the fastest way for virtually everybody. Here at Circuit of the Americas, turn number one is the one turn that is singularly unique. Now, I know unique is a superlative word. It can't be more unique, but it is singularly unique in that there's so many different ways to enter turn number one. You're going to run it very differently in the race tomorrow when you're trying to protect positions or gain positions. But arcing it into the corner is the way to typically go. I don't really see, maybe there's a little bit of tire rubber down on the racetrack, but I think it's where the brakes have been locked up just at the entrance to turn number one because they are decelerating so rapidly getting to the corner. How about down there in your end, Doug?
Yeah, definitely seeing a groove start to form up here through turns 3, 4, 5, and 6. These are the S's, and drivers are trying to hit the apex, if you will, the side of the turn that is that's acute, if you will, as hard as they can and with as many tires as allowed over the rumble strips, and that is where you're seeing the most rubber being laid down with this softer tire on this new-ish asphalt. Also here in turn number 6A, this was the turn of question all weekend here, and drivers are pretty much entering it the same way, trying to enter it straight, go right to the bottom of it, and then exit straight out so they can take what's a really big turn almost in a straight line, Pat Patterson.
Yeah, on my end of the racetrack, which really kind of talks about exiting 6B down the straightaway into turn number 12. Interesting mix. You've got some new pavement and some old pavement. I don't really see much differences. The cars basically are just, in a straight line headed to 12. When they get over here to the stadium area, for the most part, this is the same groove that we have seen each and every year that the Cup cars have run when they come here. Now, once they exit turn 15, they come headed over towards the Echo Park Bridge. There's more new pavement. And, Alex, I can certainly see by just kind of looking down from where you and I are at, you can tell where the faster cars like to be. It's pretty pronounced.
It absolutely is, Pat. A lot of that is over the red and white curbs and the rumble strips that these drivers are going over. This racing surface is a good 40 or so feet wide. Now, to driver's left, all the way through turns 16, 17, and 18, there's vibrant red, white, and blue paint, the same width, all the way out to the left. Well, you can add some Goodyear Racing Eagle Black out there as well. Some drivers going wide to driver's left out there, putting some Goodyear tire marks there. Now, the majority of what we're seeing with the rubber being put down on the racetrack is at the entrance to turn number 19. That's the left-hand turn. It's a heavy braking zone for that flat 90-degree turn. Reason being we're getting so much tire marks down there is it's going downhill as well. These big, heavy NASCAR Cup Series machines takes an awful lot of brake pressure and some good tire to grip that racetrack. We're seeing it there going into 19. A lot of it the same going into turn 20, that final corner where you really have to stand on the brakes.
When they exit turn 20, again, the black mark goes to the track, to the rumble strips, a little bit beyond that, and they can't put a black mark on the dirt, but they are off into the grass a lot of times with the right side of that race car. So that black carries all the way out to the grass at the exit of 20.
It does. Heather DeBose on pit road with a little bit more on these softer Goodyear tires.
That's right, Brad. I'm going to continue that conversation about the groove that's being laid down in various areas of this racetrack. I was listening to the team communication on the 17 of Chris Buescher before he went back out on track for his second practice session. And his spotter was telling him as he goes to the S's where Doug Turnbull is located, he said if you get off that groove, you're going to lose the handling. So try to stick with it through the S's. And I also caught up with his crew chief, Scott Graves, about the handling of that race car in their first practice session. And he said it was super loose, way looser than we thought it was going to be, so they tightened him up, and we'll see if those adjustments can bring him up on that leaderboard just a bit here in this second practice round.
Thank you very much, Heather. Alex Hayden, I want to ask you, last year you had the pleasure to call a thrilling finish at Watkins Glen when Chris Buescher went to victory lane by sort of muscling his way around Shane Van Gisbergen. This is the same tire. What kind of characteristics are we potentially looking for tomorrow when we run 95 laps here on this circuit?
This softer tire, Brad, it's going to grip the racetrack exceptionally well. Obviously, here at Circuit of the Americas, being an FIA Grade 1 facility, This is top-notch asphalt out here, and these Goodyear tires are really able to get a grip. Now, if your chassis is not handling quite well, you can find yourself in a bit of a precarious position. Doug, and we just heard our pit reporters talk about it through the S's down here. It's much the same over here in turns 16, 17, and 18. If you get just a little bit off the line, these tires don't have the grip where it's a little dirty. I'm watching the red and white entry of Cody Ware. He's doing that just at my feet right now and really gets loose with the race car. As soon as you get off the racing line, those hot Goodyear tires get on that colder part of the asphalt and the grip level goes away. But this is a good tire that Goodyear's brought to the racetrack. It's just a matter now of these race teams trying to fine-tune their race cars.
We've used almost 7 minutes now of this 20-minute practice, the second one for Group 1 at Circuit of the Americas. Daniel Suarez currently quickest, Alex Bowman second fast in this group, A.J. Allmendinger, Chris Buescher third and fourth.
Yeah, and it's interesting because we were talking earlier that 101.1 seconds was the fastest lap by Shane Van Gisbergen. Daniel Suarez is now at 99.375 seconds. That was his last lap and the fastest that he's run so far. Mark, another thing here, and it's only been a couple of laps for these drivers as we're only 7 minutes into this second practice session for the Group A cars. Shane Van Gisbergen, faster than he was earlier today in the first round, but he is 13th quick out of the 19 drivers that have taken laps in this round.
And again, as we're getting a great shot now from Fox, the exit of turn 20, you can tell the softer rubber is really being laid down on this racetrack now as you see this big black mark all the way out again to the rumple strips. There's a green patch of paint there, and that is being covered up by black, and then you get to the dirt and the grass they're kicking up right there at the exit.
Yeah, and you know what? Beautiful here in Austin. My daughter actually lives here. She says over the past week or so, been drizzly on some days, nice on some days, and so on and so forth. But honestly, where they're going through the grass here looks a little bit dry. Once they cut through that grass, Mark, they get straight down to dirt. And when they're kicking up that dirt, it is all going over the circuit and all over the racing surface itself, which, again, one of those things that can make it pretty thrilling once we actually get a green flag out with all of the cars here, the 37 that are entered in the Echo Park Automotive Grand Prix.
And as you're fighting for the race win or position in a race, sometimes you might go off there on purpose, kick a little dirt onto the racetrack for the guy behind you. That could affect his grip as well. All part of being a Cup Series driver and using everything in your toolbox to hold on to a spot.
Our good friend Todd Gordon, former championship-winning crew chief, has a famous saying, you race everywhere. And everywhere could mean inside the race shop, through the computers, out on the track itself, or, as you're talking about, off of the track. And racing everywhere might mean you getting a better lap time or hindering someone else's.
We just saw one of the cars exit that turn, get off into the dirt, and you had this, again, straight shot up the front stretch here at Circuit of the Americas, and you could see the dirt being kicked out 2 or 3 feet onto the race course. So, again, it could certainly affect the guys behind you when somebody gets off there into the dirt and the grass, and it's part of the racetrack. They just keep widening it out. They're going farther and farther. I mean, they wore out the grass, and now they're down to dirt, and now it looks like they're going to try to get over there a little bit farther as well.
Alex Bowman the fastest now, followed by Daniel Suarez and Doug Turnbull. Suarez being chased by another driver.
Yeah, that's Austin Cindric, who's good on these road courses. They exit 6A and are in the short chute to 6B, Pat Patterson.
Yeah, watching those cars exit and now make their way down to turn at number 12. Hard left-hand corner down here on the racetrack. Let that car drift out a little bit. Once again, you race uphill. And one of the thing about these corners over here, they remind you a lot of short track corners. You can feel the car compress in the middle of the corner, and that's when you want to get to that sweet spot and get back to the gas. Austin Cindric now working his way up here to turn 15 into the Echo Park Bridge.
Last time by, Cindric was leading Suarez. He got out of the way over here going into turn 19. Let the faster car, Daniel Suarez, go on. He's been able to gap Cindric now by some 10 to 12 car lengths. Cindric may be just trying to figure out what his car can do and what line Suarez is running just to try to go to work and figure out.
Those cars working now out of 19 up through 20, coming on to the front stretch at Circuit of the Americas. And again, a very unique front stretch and turn 1 as Rob Albright talked about, it is absolutely unique, one of a kind, 130 feet up, and then you get that really crazy turn one. There's nothing like it on the planet like we have right here.
Mark, this is interesting. Looking at where we are right now on the scoreboard, we don't have any preferred team. We don't have a preferred manufacturer or anything like that. In fact, Alex Bowman the quickest with Hendrick Motorsports. Daniel Suarez second quick with Trackhouse. With Colleague Racing, A.J. Allmendinger third quick. With Joe Gibbs Racing, Chase Briscoe fourth quick. With RFK, Chris Buescher is fifth. With Spire, Justin Haley is sixth. We have a second Trackhouse car and Connor Zilic who's seventh. But then we go to Team Penske in eighth with Austin Cindric. Back to Colleague in ninth with Ty Dillon. And then back to Hendrick in 10th with William Byron. We have so many different teams and so many different manufacturers all represented here in the top 10.
A little bit of a mix again last week at Atlanta. Ford dominated the qualifying, 9 out of the top 10. Let's go down to Heather DeVoe.
And here now with Michael McDowell. And Michael, I was listening to your spotter tell you that you're pretty strong all around the racetrack except for cutting the corner in 4. So what can you do to adjust your line in order to prevent that from happening?
Well, in practice here, you're just trying to find the limit, because when you're going through there at 150 miles an hour, you're trying to get every last little bit. So I wanted to find the limit of what was too far so you have a visual reference. The Gamebridge Chevy unloaded pretty close. We're in the window. We got a little bit of work to do, but I feel like we got a good starting point. Hopefully we can hit it on this next practice.
Thanks, Michael. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Heather DeVoe. Appreciate that. We have Group A, their second round of practice on track right now. 7 minutes left to go in this session as we pause 10 seconds for station identification. This is PRN, the Performance Racing Network. Alex Bowman leads Daniel Suarez, A.J. Allmendinger, Chase Briscoe, Chris Buescher, your top 5. The second round of practice. Group A cars on the track right now. 7 minutes to go. We'll come back with more from Circuit of the Americas.
From fueling NASCAR champions on the track for over 20 years to innovating 94 octane, the highest octane on the market. Performance is what Sunoco does. All Sunoco fuel at the pump meets the same top-tier standards as the fuel used in NASCAR. From the track to your tank, you can trust Sunoco to help your vehicle perform at its peak.
Imagine the roar of the engines, the smell of burnt rubber, the electrifying energy of the crowd. It feels like America. It's the Food City 500 NASCAR Weekend, April 11th through the 13th. It's racing the way it ought to be. This year, it's a triple-header weekend with the thrill of trucks, Xfinity, and Cup racing packed into 3 heart-pounding days. Visit BristolMotorspeedway.com for tickets and details.
Curious about what drivers talk about during the race? Well, you can purchase a scanner and listen to uncensored audio from every team in the race. Stop by and see Racing Electronics in the vendor area today, or learn more at racingelectronics.com. From Circuit of the Americas, this is PRN, the Performance Racing Network.
Dale Earnhardt, he's almost been deified. There's a mystique about him that's never been attached to any other driver, including your dad.
I think there's 2 things for Dale Earnhardt that make him who he is. He It moved to a different level because of what happened at Daytona. Billy Joel, only the good die young, and that's the way you remember it. So I think that moves you to a different place, too.
We're back in Austin, Texas. This is the second practice session for Group 1 for the Cup Series and the Echo Park Automotive Grand Prix. Again on top of the board right now in this second session, Alex Bowman, followed by Daniel Suarez, A.J. Allmendinger, Chase Briscoe, Chris Buescher. They're the top 5. Then Justin Haley, Connor Zilich is 7th, 8th Austin Cindric, Ty Dillon 9th, 10th is Ty Gibbs.
William Byron 11th right now, followed by Ryan Preece running in 12th. 13th is Josh Berry. Shane Van Gisbergen in 14th after being the fastest in the first round of practice. 15th is Noah Gregson. Brad Keselowski 16th. 17th Cole Custer. Eric Jones 18th. Cody Ware rounding out the 19 drivers in Group A as we have 3.5 minutes left in this session and a lot of action on the racetrack, Mark.
And now William Byron goes to the top of the board. Byron, the pole sitter here the last 2 years, 23 and 24, has just topped his teammate Alex Bowman.
Now you have to wonder if those qualifying runs are happening out there on the racetrack. Let's look at the driver who was fastest in the first round of practice. He is headed toward you, Rob Albright.
Shane Van Gisbergen will go down through the gears as he approaches turn number 1. He'll arc it in a little bit later than some of the other drivers have. Gets to the point on the bottom of the racetrack in the middle of the corner. Now he exits turn 2 very smoothly up through the gears one more time.
SVG is in a number 88 WeatherTech Chevy that looks identical to the one Connor Zilich will drive at Xfinity Series this afternoon. As SVG goes to turns 5 and 6 and into turn 6 here, which is a wide parabola. Then he gears down to first gear to make that hard left-hander at 6A with the number 4 machine of Noah Gregson in tow.
Now he'll rocket down and exit turn 6B as he works his way down what I'll refer to as the backstretch into turn number 12. SVG down through the gearbox. Very tight corner. Actually lets the car roll out a good ways here as he sets up for 13. Got another hard right-hand corner. Noah Gregson back there behind him. They work over by turn number 14 and now into 15. A very, very important corner. Getting off of here is extremely good for you and making a way back to the front stretch.
All right, it's interesting, Mark, watching them go around. So Noah Gregson is following Shane Van Gisbergen, and this is not a slight on Noah Gregson whatsoever. But as he's looking at the back bumper of Shane Van Gisbergen making these smooth laps, you can almost see Noah over-driving the car a bit because he's just doing whatever he can to keep Van Gisbergen's back bumper in his sight, and it hadn't been working out too well.
It looks like the mock qualifying has worked for SVG. He rockets now to the top. 1 minute, 38.85 seconds for SVG, and that's an average speed of 87.409 miles per hour.
It is pretty interesting. Noah Gregson stayed out on the circuit to go out there and make another lap. Shane Van Gisbergen pulled his Chevy in, and guessing they're going to now get that ready for qualifying as there is 1 minute, 16 seconds left here in the second practice for Group A. Wendy Venturini, what's happening out on pit road?
Brad Gilly. Yes. Hey, Brad. So you mentioned these guys starting their qualifying laps. That's exactly what William Byron did and jumped up to second on this chart. He said it was still a little bit tight. The team gave him some feedback that it's still locking the inside tire. The feedback from the 24 of William Byron is just that the car felt a little bit sluggish, even though he was able to post a fast qualifying lap. The rear grip, though, is good and has improved for William Byron.
Thank you, Wendy. Pat, over in the stadium section, watching William Byron's mock qualifying run, it looks like that's where a lot of the lockup was happening. How much are these drivers attacking that section?
Well, I think that they do attack it, and that is the right word, but I think there's also some conservatism in there. Is they need to connect these corners, Brad. The biggest way to give away time is to get too excited and really force the issue into these corners. As you watch Bowman now working his way by me, the one thing that he really illustrates more than anything else, as far as what I see, is smooth. He tries to be so smooth, right, Alex Hayden?
You do. You have to be patient through this section of the course as you make your way out of the stadium part into this long sweeping set of corners the driver's right. The quicker you get on the throttle, the more the back end of the car wants to dance with you. You have to remain patient before you can go on full-on attack when you exit turn number 18 and set up for turn 19, where a lot of these drivers, much like turn 20, have been cutting the corner and dipping the left side Goodyears off into the grass. Well, it's no longer green down there. It is was complete brown and dust and dirt. And I wonder now, from my vantage point, it's tough to get a good idea, but just how deep is that getting? It's starting to look a little bit like motocross, if you will. The longer you go through the corner, the deeper the rut gets. And that's what it looks like now in the grass inside turn 19.
And the same for the exit of turn number 20. That dirt patch is getting wider, and the amount of dirt and gravel on the racetrack has certainly increased as we've now come to the end of the second practice session for Group 1. Shane Van Gisbergen, the quickest, followed by William Byron, Alex Bowman. The rest of the top 5 from that group, Daniel Suarez and A.J. Allmendinger.
Motorsports isn't complicated. It's made up of races where you go as fast as you can, as best as you can, and as sideways as you can. Our team, Toyota Gazoo Racing. Toyota makes some seriously fast cars, and they all have great drivers, ones that win a lot. Denny Hamlin, Christopher Bell, they're all part of a big, happy family of speed demons. Now you're up to speed. You in? Follow the action at tgrna.com. Toyota, let's go places. NASCAR is a registered trademark of the National Association for Stock Car Auto Racing, LLC.
Hi, I'm PRN's Alexis Eric. Want to listen to PRN anywhere you go? By downloading the PRN mobile app, you can listen to live race broadcasts and have on-demand access to your favorite shows like Fast Talk, Pit Reporters, Garage Pass, and PRN's At the Track. Download today to make sure you don't miss any of the action. Get the latest racing information at your fingertips with the PRN mobile app, available on Apple App Store and Google Play. Find more information at goprn.com.
Final practice session is about to get underway. It'll be Group B for 20 minutes. Then we'll qualify for the Echo Park Automotive Grand Prix. From Circuit of the Americas, this is PRN, the Performance Racing Network.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver. And we dedicate a lot of our time to going as fast as possible. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently, experiencing problems with their memory, or having trouble with routine tasks. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services, make a plan for the future, and access available treatments. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together.
Here's Christopher Bell.
My Toyota Camry TRD race car isn't cheap to build and prepare. I have a pit crew that maintains and fixes my equipment. I have a spotter high above the track watching my back, talking me through turns and potential dangers on the track. I physically train to handle the stress of driving. And I have software helping my crew chief and engineers make the right strategy calls. And with all this, I never take my eyes off the road, and neither should you. One distraction can change everything in one instant.
Welcome back to Circuit of the Americas. This is the second practice session for Group B. This is the final practice session before the cars will qualify. Coming up today at 2 o'clock Eastern, the Performance Racing Network will be back on the air for the Focus Tells 250 NASCAR Xfinity Series race. Connor Zilich and Ross Chastain, teammates at Junior Motorsports in the Xfinity Series, will start on the front row. Tomorrow, we go on the air 2:30 Eastern time for the Echo Park Automotive Grand Prix. The cars are making their way around the circuit, and Alex Hayden, let's start with you with some play-by-play because they're going to hit that timing line in front of you before they start making hot laps.
Joey Logano's already passed that timing line. His Team Penske teammate Ryan Blaney follows suit. Then a couple of Hendrick Motorsports Chevrolets do it. It's Kyle Larson leading Chase Elliott.
Let's go to pit road and Heather DeBow.
And here now with the guy who's on top of the board, finished for practice for the day. I didn't hear much from you as far as handling, so I'm assuming you're happy. Scale of 1 to 10, where is your race car at in performance and where you want it?
Missed most of that, but yeah, car's really good. Weather tech tomorrow is good. We did a mock run, it wasn't that nice, so hopefully we can make it better for qualifying. A few little things we can try.
Now, a lot of people are watching you, other competitors, whether you're out on track and they're in the second session, to learn from you. I know it's really loud, but how does it make you feel that everybody's watching you, and do you try to trip them up at all and not give them your secrets?
I don't worry about that stuff. I just try and do my own thing, but there's some guys that are very fast, so just trying to manage what they do and look and see what I can do better as well.
Good luck in qualifying.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Heather DeBow. We appreciate that. Shane Van Gisbergen is just such a casual kind of guy, and, you know, for us, this is really cool. For him, that's kind of what I do.
And I really do believe he is up the ante in road racing on the Cup Series. Nobody that's a regular wanted to see him jump into Chicago and do what he did, because, I mean, what an amazing performance. And everybody said, we need to go to work. We got to get better at this to be able to take on SVG.
Yeah, I think he's done a great job. Adaptability. And here at Circuit of the Americas, everyone has to be adaptable to a new section of racetrack. We have a brand new race coming up on the schedule later on this year in Mexico City. Now, while we raced in Mexico City way back when with the NASCAR Xfinity Series, that circuit just a little bit changed from what it was before, and it'll be the first time the Cup Series goes there. Again, another place where you talk about adaptability, with Van Gisbergen having literally an entire career growing up road racing. That's going to be a big asset to him there as well.
What a fantastic road course. It is right in Mexico City, right? It is like a park during the regular part. I mean, there's a lot of people that get to kind of roam around it and do different things with it, as I've looked into that. What is it? Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez.
Yeah, or Hermanos, as they would
Hermanos.
say.
I'm sorry. Yeah,
the H is silent in Spanish,
okay,
and I struggle with that too, Mark.
There you go. So I think that's going to be an eye-opener because the F1 cars have put on great races there, and the Mexican fans are hardcore, too, about their racing. It is going to be certainly well represented and should be a sellout there in Mexico City. I think the Mexican fans are going to love what they see.
Yeah, we'll be talking more with them coming up here as the weekend goes on, because they're about to actually have their ticket on sale for the Mexico City, the debut for the NASCAR Cup Series in Mexico City, which that is going to be an exciting one for sure, and we look forward to everything that's going to happen with that race weekend. Shane Van Gisbergen still is topping the overall speed chart. Kyle Busch very fast in this session. Michael McDowell pretty fast in this session as well, and we'll let a couple of cars go by and get some more play-by-play going and bring in our turn announcers. In fact, Rob Albright, what are you seeing at the top of the hill?
Well, it's kind of quiet at the moment up here. It is John Hunter Nemechek, the only car in my view at the moment as he heads downhill toward turn number 2. I know only hardcore race fans, Doug Turnbull, are listening. When they say mock run, that means they've made some adjustments. They're looking for one fast lap.
That's what we saw last practice session. It really ramped up in the second half as John Hunter Nemechek goes between that short run between the S's of turn 4 and 5, then that long gliding turn, right-hand turn at turn 6, and it's down to first gear, hard to the left in turn 6A to the short chute.
Watching Nemechek now work out of turn 6B. Very quick left-hander, lets it grow all the way out to the grass there as he heads his way down to the stadium part of the course. Hard right-hand corner there in turn number 12. Lets the car drift up, and he'll come back to the right now for turn number 13. And as I said, turn 14 is more of a trip to just hit a rumble strip and set yourself up for 15, which is a very difficult turn back to the left-hand corner here as he races up here towards the Echo Park Bridge.
Once you get into qualifying coming up in just a bit, it's got to be so terribly difficult for these drivers to get a perfect lap. This is such a technical circuit these drivers have to negotiate. You can be great for 90% of it. You mess up one corner, you may potentially mess up your qualifying lap, and you may have to take another lap to try to do it. But then you overheated the Goodyear tires, so it is a fine line and quite the balance beam that these drivers are having to work here today.
Now let's go back to pit road, catch up with Wendy Venturini.
William Byron with a headset on. It's loud down here, but let's talk you through. Your car rolled off the truck a little bit loose in those left-handers. It ended up on that qualifying run a little bit tight, according to your feedback. Do you have the car where you want it at this point?
Yeah, I think we've made a lot of progress so far. So just a little bit of it was me getting up to speed as well. So just trying to figure out that, and yeah, I feel like we've gotten my car a lot more comfortable. So credit to the guys for working hard, and I feel like just need to focus on the first lap here in qualifying because the tires don't seem to rerun that great. So just need to make sure we get a good lap here.
How many curveballs were thrown at you with 6A and 6B? I know that sim had changed a lot throughout your time before you got here.
Yeah, the new sections are interesting. They're not, I wouldn't say they're super challenging, but they're a different rhythm for sure once you reach 12. Yeah, that's the big thing, is just the braking in 12 is a lot different than last year, so just trying to put it all together.
Thank you. That's William Byron. He does a fantastic job reading lips because I know it is loud down here on pit road as these cars go flying by.
Thank you, Wendy. By the way, in that new section, I want to know what the over-under is tomorrow we get racing, or even later on this afternoon for the Xfinity Series and the Focused Health 250. How many times that barrier gets hit? During these mock single-car runs, no big deal. But that barrier, that keeps them from really cutting that corner hard. But it's just kind of its own little thing standing out there like a lamppost, if you will. And I'm just wondering how many times that's going to get hit or moved.
Yeah, it is. It's interesting to see. In fact, Doug Turnbull, who has a great view of that, he is actually sitting perched high on a point, if you will, up there in what is the regular course, turn number 6, before they head into turn A. Doug, I'm curious as to what that barrier looks like. It's on the inside of left-hand corner, but is it movable or is there a metal post there? What do you see?
It looks to me like it could be movable, kind of like that turn 11 barrier that's been there in the past at Sonoma Raceway. That's the one it looks like to me. Now, I haven't seen anybody hit it, so I don't know how movable it is, but it looks like it's got tires or something in it, and it can be easily put back into place if someone were to grace it. Also, the good news about that, guys, is if a car does hit it, it's not like it's going to KO that race car. Worst case is NASCAR could call it for cutting the course if they did it too much, I guess.
I guess that is a good example of what we had at Sonoma, and need to point out that at Sonoma they kept nudging it farther and farther to the inside. So where it started during the race is not where it ended during the race.
Alex Hayden, I know this is not your section of the course, but I know you've done a lot to sort of research some of the things that go on. If a car hits this, it might be movable, but it might not be good for them, right?
Correct. You may not move very much further after you hit it. Spending some time with some of the Xfinity drivers yesterday before they went out and they did their track walk. I went out with some of those drivers and went and looked at that. Talked to Elton Sawyer with NASCAR. That object is 400 pounds. So, yeah, you could hit it if you want to, but you're entering it at your own risk. You may not make it back around to the pit lane after hitting a 400-pound barrier. I guess, guys, the moral of the story is do not cut that corner.
Or if you're going to hit it, nudge it, is what they did always at Sonoma, right? They just kind of barely kept pushing it a little bit, and that gave them a little more space to race. However, at Sonoma, that's a more sweeping corner. This is a much tighter corner, so I don't really see the guys wanting to get in there too hard and perhaps get up against that too much, as Alex pointed out. Also, the weight of it. So we'll see.
Hey, Mark, there's another factor to that barrier over there that is even more important than actually hitting it, and that is you can intimidate that car on the inside. The more you squeeze somebody right there, and that in my conversations with drivers this week, it's been all about, is that a passing zone or not a passing zone? And certainly Doug Turnbull will have his hands full right there. But the fact that you've got that big of a target right there at the edge of that corner, you can really use that to your advantage. If you get another guy positioned just right, you can make a key pass right there. Don't worry about hitting it. Just the fact that he sees it can also get him out of the gas.
Hey, and one thing too, Pat, is this barrier sits atop gravel. So if you were going to nudge that barrier or go behind it or avoid it, let's say, if someone's trying to force you there, you would be in the gravel. The other thing, too, is not only does the gravel slow you down, you can potentially get stuck if you were too far into it, but the preferred way to exit that corner is really with that barrier just perfectly to your left, so you can get a straight shot there, sweep out right next to that wall, and set up the next turn.
Wendy Venturini.
Yeah, just to add on this conversation, the intricacies of this racetrack and how things change from the simulator when the drivers use it. Last week's winner, Christopher Bell, told me that he ran the sim, and every time he ran the sim, something had changed on the racetrack. And it's something like this barrier that adds a little more notch from when they practiced the sim. But he said the biggest concern from him was still the restart zone here. Even though they changed it and moved it, that turn 1 restart and that braking zone was still the biggest concern for Christopher Bell. But I'll tell you, Christopher Bell is deep in that practice chart. You got to go all the way back to 22nd, 23rd is where he's been lingering all day here at COTA.
Thank you very much, Wendy. And that Echo Park Automotive restart zone is literally right as they're making the left-hander out of the final corner, turn number 20. In fact, right now, the Echo Park Automotive restart zone that's painted on the racetrack is getting covered up by tire marks because this is a part where they overshoot the corner. So that means if you're in the front couple of rows, when you hit that restart zone, you're going to be able to get on the gas and go hard. About at least 3/4 of the field are still going to be coming up the hill. They'll have to make the left-hander while they're under fire with cars on the inside or outside of them for a pretty good restart. But that also allows them room to separate before they get up to the top of the hill, Mark.
And that's the whole idea. When we were here before they changed the Echo Park Automotive restart zone, they would go into turn 1 5, 6 wide. They'd just be throwing it in there, using bulldozers to kind of move guys out of there. Drivers didn't like that, so they moved it farther back, as you talked about. By the time they get up to turn 1, will not nearly be as congested. We saw that last year where they had the restart zone change. There weren't the big, massive 6 and 7 wide pileups that went into that corner. That certainly helped the restarts. As far as the drivers were concerned, for us, not nearly as interesting, but for the drivers, it certainly helped the traffic jam that was turn number 1.
Hey, these cars have fenders and quarter panels wrapping the 4 Goodyear tires that are mounted underneath them. I'm all about it being a full contact sport. I'm also all about seeing some great racing. We're seeing some good racing out on the course right now. Ross Chastain being chased by Denny Hamlin waved his hand out the window, but we'll see how that goes. Pat Patterson, I think that's in the stadium section.
Yeah, Hamlin's giving him a fit now as they race under the Echo Park Bridge, trying to hang on to the back of the 1 car, Alex.
Yeah, Chastain, however, is going to be able to give another extra half car length or so over Denny Hamlin through this section of the course. Now downhill, under braking turn number 19. They both swing to driver's right before making that sharp left-hand turn. And again, Ross Chastain is able to get through that corner much better than Denny Hamlin.
Right now, Chastain, number 6 in this group, number 2 in this practice session. It is Carson Hocevar, Ryan Blaney, Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson, Kyle Busch, Ross Chastain, followed by Michael McDowell. That, again, the rundown here in Group 2, their second practice. Overall fastest right now is Shane Van Gisbergen still.
And if we go by what we saw in Group A's second practice session, Group E being in their second practice session with about 5.5 minutes ago, looks like we're going to see some mock qualifying runs. In fact, we have a former winner of this race heading up to you, Rob Albright.
Yeah, we watch Tyler Reddick now as he'll climb the hill into turn number 1. Let's see if he looks any faster, having made the adjustments necessary to try to find a very rapid lap around this racetrack, using all of the racetrack to the high side entering turn number 2, now back to the bottom of the apex of the corner.
And Monster Beast Toyota enters turn 3, left-hand turn, then to the right, turn 4 and 5. Real short shoot between those. Easy to carry, too much speed into them. And then he's going to start gearing down to the crest of turn 6. Tyler Reddick is going to go into that hard left bender of 6A and just misses that tire barrier.
Lets that car drift out to the wall now as he sets up for turn 6B, smoothly through there, all the way out to the grass, through that red and white rumble strip, sets up for turn number 12. Now through the gearbox, car drifts out to the right, will set up to the left-hand side, driver's left to set up for this right-hander, which is turn 13. 14, hit the rumble strips and drive as hard as you can down into turn number 15. This is really where you got to get it woed up, and you don't want to give up any time. He does a nice job of that as he works his number 45 up to the bridge.
He's going to hug the red and white curbing to driver's right through turn 16. That double apex, he'll clip the rumble strips with the left front tire. That'll set the car in the direction he needs to get through turn 17 and 18. Now we'll go back to driver's right, hard on the brakes, downshifting. 90-degree turn 19, back on the throttle, Tyler Reddick. This is a lap around Circuit of the Americas.
All right, Tyler Reddick now. Let's see where he goes. Does he dive back onto pit road, or does he come out and make another lap? Comes out of turn number 20, still on the gas. Tyler Reddick now about to cross the start-finish line, and he's going to head back up the hill toward Rob Albright.
I guess we can follow him one more time. Typically, the first lap on adjustments made is the fastest. Reddick apparently didn't like that first one, so he's going to make another one. A much tighter exit off of turn number 1 sets up a little bit different for turn 2 as well.
He doesn't exit it as wide as the time before. Tyler Reddick does it under the pedestrian bridge. Turn 3 right over the rumble strips, just barely in the legal zone of the rumble strips. And turns 4 and 5 as Carson Hocevar is off the pace in front of Reddick. Reddick will stream past him into turn 6A, and we'll see if Hocevar gets up to speed.
Yeah, it looks like Carson was just kind of sitting there trying to get space between him and some other cars. And now he'll get back on his lap as we watch Reddick work down here into turn number 12. Way outside, sets up for a nice inside cut. Left-hander there in turn 12, works over to 13. Hocevar now up to speed back behind him. Reddick through 13 now sets up for 14, over to the right, and then pulls the car right back in center. Drifting out to set up for the 15 corner is what he does. Gets back to the gas, and here he comes to the bridge.
It's Tyler Reddick as he makes his way into turn number 16. Again, right up against the rumble strips. Gives himself a good foot, maybe a foot and a half, without running over them this time. Off turn number 18, past the alternate start-finish line. Tyler Reddick slams on the brakes, downshifts for turn number 19. gets off of that corner well, uses all the runoff area. He's going to stay on the racetrack and set up for turn number 20.
All right, Tyler Reddick now coming back around. And Mark, boy, we're seeing some cars put up some big laps now here in the second session for Group B.
And again, Hocevar is third quickest overall now, just behind Shane Van Gisbergen and William Byron. And right behind him is going to be Ryan Blaney. You know, Reddick is always somebody you got to contend with on the road courses. He won here in 2023. He's also won at Road America, the Indy road course as well. And for a guy that didn't kind of grow up cutting his teeth on road courses, he caught on in a real hurry.
He really did. And, you know, here's the interesting thing. Being a Toyota driver, obviously he drives for 2311 Racing, which is partially owned by Denny Hamlin, one of his competitors. But Tyler Reddick, also utilizing some sim racers, has really done a great job of finding fast ways around the racetrack. We came here a couple of years ago, the year that Reddick won here at Circuit of the Americas, Mark, and they utilized that in a big way. Denny Hamlin went out there. He didn't win road course races, but he won a bunch of road course poles, so it's just fascinating to see how things, I'm going to say, trickle through that Toyota Gazoo Racing family now, and one person finds something, be it with a sim driver or themselves, then they can pass it along to their Toyota teammates as well, and it's made a huge, huge difference, and we'll see what it does today in qualifying.
Getting a chance now to watch Carson Hocevar make another lap here at Circuit of the Americas. Hocevar, the last time we saw him, he was having a little chat with Ryan Blaney and Ross Chastain following Atlanta. He told us on the PRN show it was nothing about what happened on the track. They were just trying to set up a date at Chili's. So we'll have to see if that was obviously not the truth. But Hocevar, very aggressive, but came very close to winning last week at Atlanta.
Yeah, well, look, if he upsets Kyle Busch, they're going to Cheddar's because that is the sponsor of his car. But, look, Hocevar was the runner-up finisher last week, and he was out on that 1.54-mile racetrack just as much as anybody else. And I get that drivers can be upset with each other, and I love when Alan Cavana asked Ross Chastain what happened. Chastain would not talk about the incident. When Cavana said, "Are you satisfied with the answer you had?" No, sir. And we'll see how that translates to this weekend.
So right now, the second practice for group number 2 is over. And coming up, we'll have qualifying for the Echo Park Automotive Grand Prix.
Whether your engine runs daily or only when you need it, Z-Max Micro Lubricant is the force you need against carbon buildup that can damage your engine. Combustion causes carbon and other harmful deposits to build up in your engine, fuel system, and transmission. And carbon is like sandpaper rubbing against your engine's internal parts. You don't want that. You want Z-Max Micro Lubricant. It soaks into metal and keeps your vehicle running at peak performance. Find out more at zmax.com or visit us on Facebook and Twitter. Protect your engine to the max with Z-Max.
The speed, the thrill, the action. NASCAR takes over Las Vegas March 14th through 16th for the Pennzoil 400 race weekend at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Get ready for non-stop action as NASCAR's biggest stars battle for victory. Whether you're in the stands or camping trackside, feel the adrenaline like never before. Tickets at lvms.com or call 800-644-4444. Are you ready to go all in? This is NASCAR. This is Vegas. This is the Pennzoil 400 March 14th through 16th.
4 20-minute practice sessions are over. We'll get back to the real deal in a moment as they go after the pole position in the Echo Park Automotive Grand Prix. This is PRN, the Performance Racing Network.
It's hard to believe in this day and age in the United States of America that children are hungry.
Our time on this planet is short. We have to give back to those in need.
Every child has a chance, no matter what obstacles they may encounter.
Never have we been taxed more as a society to help kids the way we are right now.
Speedway Children's Charities raises money through several different avenues. My favorite is the Gala.
It's one of those can't-miss events for everybody who attends, and I've been able to raise and distribute over $60 million.
When you have 50 different organizations receiving grants from Speedway Children's Charities, that's far-reaching. And some people think, well, I don't have much money to give. I say $50 is a lot to give.
At Speedway Children's Charities,
our mission is simple. Help every child we can.
Because all children
deserve joy
and hope
and love. And if one child is still in need,
then there's still work to do.
Welcome back to Circuit of the Americas. We have just completed 2 practice sessions for the NASCAR Cup Series as they get set to go out and qualify coming up here shortly. Overall, Shane Van Gisbergen, the fastest on the track. That was in both Session 1 and Session 2. William Byron, second quick. Third was Carson Hocevar. Ryan Blaney, fourth. Alex Bowman, fifth. Sixth was Chase Elliott. Kyle Larson, seventh. Eighth was Kyle Busch. Daniel Suarez, ninth. And 10th was Ross Chastain.
Taking a look at the next 10, A.J. Allmendinger, 11th. Chase Briscoe, 12th. 13th, Michael McDowell. Chris Buescher, 14th. 15th, Justin Haley. Tyler Reddick, 16th. Connor Zilisch, the 18-year-old, 17th. 18th, Austin Cindric. 19th, Ty Dillon. Riley Herbst in 20th.
Christopher Bell, who finished runner-up here last year, 21st. Reigning champion Joe Liano, 22nd. Zane Smith, 23rd. John Hunter Nemechek was 24th. 25th, Ty Gibbs, 26th. Bubba Wallace. Todd Gilliland, 27th. 28th was Ryan Preece. 29th, Josh Berry. And 30th was Noah Gragson.
Then 31st, Austin Dillon. Denny Hamlin struggling. He was 32nd. Brad Keselowski, 33rd. 34th, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Cole Custer, 35th. Then it was Eric Jones, 36th. And Cody Ware in that 37th spot.
Let's go down to pit road and Heather DeBow.
And here now with Carson Hocevar, who's up on the gas. He's third on the board. I heard your crew chief, Luke Lambert, tell you have a decision to make. You can keep what you have as far as handling right now, or we can go back to the mock run. So what do you think? I heard you say, too, you were a little bit too loose overall that last practice session.
Yeah, I think we're in a good spot. We'll probably go back to exactly how we were when I went third, right? Just go with what is proven rather than guess and try to swing for, the fences on something that's not proven. I didn't really think our lap was that great anyways when I ran that lap, so I'd much rather just go with something that, I feel like we could put together a really good lap. It's exciting to have a really fast car here, I think, and it's all going to matter, if we qualify and if I can, replicate what we just did in practice.
What do you think of the new track layout?
I enjoy it. It's a lot more fun for me because it's just a lot going on in a shorter amount of time, which is enjoyable for me especially.
Awesome. Well, Carson Hocevar is going to go out for qualifying here shortly and hopefully get him a good starting spot to keep that momentum going off of that good finish at Atlanta.
Thank you very much, Heather. We appreciate that. Qualifying's about to get underway, and you're going to hear us talking about Group A and Group B during qualifying. They each get a 20-minute session, but that's only splitting the field in half to ease the amount of cars on the track at one time. The combined times from both sessions will be slotted into the scoreboard, and the fastest car, whether they were in Group A or Group B, will be the pole winner. The second quick, whether they're in Group A or Group B, will start second. So all Group A and Group B does is just separate the field, Mark. It has nothing to do with whether they start on the inside row or outside row. It is going to be 1 through 37 in the total combined sessions.
So no telling what we'll get. We may get Group 1 with the top 5. They may not even make the top 5 after Group 2 qualifying. So we'll just have to see how it plays out.
You're going to hear a lot of talk this weekend about track limits. That's where if drivers put all 4 tires off the course in certain sections, they will get a penalty from NASCAR. That includes during qualifying. And Doug Turnbull, let's start with you because really your section of the course that you're covering with play-by-play, a lot of the track limits are covered there.
Yeah, and it seemed like drivers were trying to find what those limits were through these 2 practice sessions, each for Group A and Group B. And basically the rule is you have to have the 2 tires, the last 2 tires of your car, if you will, have to at least touch the rumble strips. If all 4 go to the wrong side of the rumble strips, which are basically to the inside of the turns, each of 3, 4, 5, and 6, then you get called through a stop-and-go penalty here on the race surface. Now, there were a few cars that were called for that during the practice session, but better get those jollies out of your system now during practice because these laps are for something you'd hate to have a heater and then have it all thrown away there because of a misstep in the section. And one thing I'll say, too, because I saw like McDowell got called for one at turn 4. There is a lot of runway between turns 3 and 4 to carry more speed. You have to get really woed down at turn 4, and it's easy to miss that or miss turn 5 if you get off line because you're carrying so much speed out of turn 3.
Wendy Venturini, what can you add to this conversation?
Yeah, you heard during practice a lot of these drivers that had the track violations, track limits being pushed. And that's exactly what Chase Elliott did multiple times in turn 5, and every time he did it, they let him report. That was another violation. A driver that didn't have any of those violations in practice today, Austin Cindric. Now, interestingly enough, Austin Cindric is 18th in this practice session overall. So I know those Penske cars want a little bit more speed, but good to go. No track limits were hit by Austin Cindric.
And again, this is a common thing when we get to F1 racing, right? They constantly talk about track limits. Here it comes into play pretty much, 3, 4, maybe even 5 turns at Circuit of the Americas where, a guy, again, if it's all 4 tires to the inside, off the racetrack completely. And we've seen down through the S's, man, they just drew a straight line. I mean, they didn't even attempt to make the second and third turns in the S's without just blasting straight across the rumple strips.
Wendy Venturini.
I'm down here with Chase Elliott. Now, Chase, we heard in practice a lot of those drivers taking it to the limits with the track violations. Can you describe it to the fans at home? Is it finding that limit in practice alone to know what to do for the rest of the weekend?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you'll see a very small percentage of violations in the race, I think, compared to what you saw right there. And I think it's just everybody trying to figure out what they're going to call and what they're not. Just the overall aggression for getting close to that limit, I think, for the entire field is elevated. And honestly, they're being pretty reasonable with it,
William
I feel
Byron's
like,
on the clock
today. So I think that's a good thing. I don't think anybody's trying to be egregious with it. It's just, that there's time in making those S's straighter, and everybody knows it. So it's definitely a risk. Wish there was some more clear-cut way of doing it than that, but that's what we got. So
6th overall in practice, 3rd fastest in your round. Do you feel very comfortable with your race car now, Chase?
Much more that round than the first one. I was not very happy in the first one, so we'll hopefully make another small little gain and see where we stack up here in a minute.
All right, thank you for your time. That's Chase Elliott, 6th fastest overall in the round of practice.
Thank you very much, Wendy Venturini. Qualifying has started. Cars are on the clock right now. Rob Albright, let's start with your section in turn 1.
Up in turn number 1, Chris Buescher will make his way across the turn, now downhill toward turn number 2. Take the car to the outside line, now right back to the rumble strips, exiting the corner.
Buescher nearly won, or did win Watkins Glen last year. Really good at road racing as he head through turns 5, 4, and 5. Now up to speed, pushing those track limits in that blue and white Fastenal Ford. And now he arcs turn 6. Down the gears to first gear at turn number 6A.
Buescher works his way over to 6B now. Will exit onto the straightaway smoothly. Through there he goes all the way out next to the rumble, or on the rumble strips, into turn number 12. Hard left-hand corner now as he will work his way up to turn number 13. That'll be a right-hander for the blue and white number 17 car as they now enter turn 14. Lets those right side wheels hit the corner there. Down into 15 he goes. It'll be Chase Briscoe behind him. Here comes Buescher as he heads to the Echo Park Bridge.
Bit of a home game for the Texas native out of Prosper, Texas. Chris Buescher here takes that Fastenal Ford Mustang from Roush Fenway Keselowski through turn 16, 17, and 18, and over the alternate start-finish line. He'll slap the brakes down here in turn number 19. See if he's going to stay on the track or if he's going to be basically a one and done, and he'll now make his way to the pit lane.
It looks like Connor Zilic is going to go to the top of the board. William Byron, who has won the last 2 pole positions at COTA, is currently number 2, followed by Alex Bowman, Brad Keselowski, Chase Briscoe.
And Chase Briscoe is coming your way, Rob.
Chase Briscoe will climb the hill. He's arcing it in a lot deeper than some of the cars before him. Turns that left-hand turn into a 90-degree corner. Now he'll charge down first gear, second, all the way to third gear as he hustles off turn 2.
And he'll carry speed through turn 3, that left turn there, as he gets right over the rumble strips, almost cuts the course at that spot. He exits turn 5 right now, does Chase Briscoe, and then he'll start gearing down right now in front of me through turn 6 as he makes that hard left-hander to 6A and exits wide.
Briscoe obviously not happy with the first lap for the 19 Toyota now as he works off of 6B down the straightaway here that leads to turn number 12. Up in front of him is Ty Gibbs. Here comes Briscoe into turn 12. Works his way up the hill, and there is a little bit of an elevation change right here as he works his way over to the right-hand side of 13. Over to turn number 14. Briscoe with the bright orange and black colors that we're so familiar with that numbered car as he works off of turn number 15 now here to the bridge.
He is hustling that Toyota around this portion of the race course through turn 16. That double apex right-hander lets the car drift wide. Now back on the hammer he goes. Flashes by the white-painted alternate start-finish line. Chase Briscoe gets his qualifying lap in now. Find out if he's happy with it or maybe wants to go around again. He's going to go to pit road.
Kind of happy with it. He is fourth quick now after making his second qualifying lap, but A.J. Allmendinger has gone to the top of the board over Connor Zilich and William Byron, again looking for his third straight at COTA and his second straight after taking the top spot at Atlanta.
That would be pretty incredible for sure. We still have just under 14 minutes left to go for Group A with their session right now. A.J. Allmendinger leads Connor Zilich, William Byron, Chase Briscoe, and Alex Bowman, the top five, Mark.
And then after that, we've got Brad Keselowski, Justin Haley, Chris Buescher is 8th, Ty Dillon 9th. Cole Custer is in the 10th position. Then I believe the only other cars to run, Cody Ware has been out, so is Ryan Preece.
I don't know how Brad Keselowski is 6th quick because he was jumping all around that race course. But let's get an update from pit road with Wendy Venturini.
William Byron, currently third right now in this round of qualifying, is tucked into his race car with the window net down, helmet on, with an iPad in hand, watching basically the other drivers and what laps they are running and exactly what lanes they are running. Now, before he even came to a stop on pit road, they told him the 16 of A.J. Allmendinger had passed him. But the report from William Byron was the changes they made from practice were not the best for William Byron. He said it was free, again, laterally, which is what he had at the beginning of the very first round of practice. So they've gone back and forth, loose, tight, back to a free condition for William Byron.
Need to mention the fact that Shane Van Gisbergen is in this group. He's keeping his powder dry. He has not made his run yet. Let's go down to Heather DeBow.
Yeah, and I'm watching Shane Van Gisbergen sitting here waiting to go out and make a lap, but his teammate just to his right of Connor Zilich, who's currently third, after he made his lap, a little disappointment in his voice. He said, you guys, I messed up 19. He said, I also still need a little bit of high-speed stability, especially in turn 2, but other than that, it felt a lot better. So he's cooling off that race car. They're going to make another shot at it and see if he can do better than third.
Mark, I like the idea. Sit out there because, you know, fast cars that think they have a shot at the pole. Ty Gibbs just went up to second right now. Well, they're going to decide, do we get ready to go make another lap? If Van Gisbergen is sitting there, you better all decide you might want to go out and make another lap.
And again, if you've been as quick as he has been, why not wait for things to kind of settle out, the track get a little bit more clear, fewer cars on the racetrack. He'll make sure that he does not have an encumbered get up to speed and then fast laps. We'll have to see. SVG, again, quickest overall in practice. Will he be able to duplicate that in qualifying?
Yeah, out on the course right now, we see Daniel Suarez. We see Noah Gragson, a couple of the cars that are waiting to make a time lap here in this qualifying session for Group 1. We still have 11 minutes, 20 seconds to go, Mark.
As a reminder, our top 10 from a year ago, Byron, Gibbs, Reddick, Bell, LaJoy was 5th. Then Chastain, Truex, Denny Hamlin, Chase Elliott, and Bubba Wallace. I'm not sure that will look very similar when we get done later today.
Austin Cindric's at the top of the hill.
And he's been struggling. He came the last time through turn number 1, got extremely wide, cost him a bunch of time. Now he'll try to improve on this next lap.
And when he did that, he actually killed that lap and soft-pedaled the car around the course. Now he's up to speed through turns 4 and 5, slinging that car through there as aggressive as I've seen him all day. He doesn't spin any tires through turn 6, and now he gears down for 6A, just misses that inside barrier and accelerates off.
Cindric noted as being a real road course kind of guy, and that makes a nice exit in 6B now as he works down to turn number 12, wide open. He runs down into the corner through the gearbox, makes that hard left-hand corner, now works his way up here to turn number 13, which is back to the right. Cindric negotiates that well, lets the car drift again out, pulls it back to the right as he sets up for turn number 15. But Rob made the observation he struggled in that race up the hill, and he struggled back here just a little bit exiting these corners, Alex.
Yeah, the balance of the car just doesn't seem like it's there right now, Pat. Here's Cindric through the double apex turn 16. Again, he has to feather the throttle far more than what he was in his practice session as he flies by the alternate start-finish line. Austin Cindric, I wouldn't think would be too terribly pleased with that lap, as he's going to roll out of the throttle and take it back to pit lane.
16th quick for Austin Cindric, one of only 3 drivers that qualified top 10 in the first 2 races. He, along with Chris Buescher and Joey Logano. So his average start 2.0 in the first 2 races, not going to be close to that here at COTA.
All right, cool those tires off a little bit. Wendy Venturini, what do you know?
Austin Cindric just came over the radio and said, that's the worst my car's felt all day today. It was loose everywhere, so that kind of correlates with that qualifying time we just saw him put up.
A new number 1, Daniel Suarez on top of the board, followed by A.J. Allmendinger. The rest of our top 5, Ty Gibbs, Connor Zilic, and William Byron in Group 1 qualifying at COTA.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small. Loud or quiet. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Hi, this is PRN's Brett McMillan. You know, you don't spend your life just sitting around, so what you need is PRN's mobile app. By downloading the mobile app, you can listen to our live race broadcast from anywhere. Make sure you don't miss a second of the action from the track. If you download it today, you get station listening and on-demand access to your favorite studio shows like Fast Talk, Pit Reporters, or Garage Pass. Get all the latest racing information at your fingertips with the PRN mobile app. Download today. Available at the Apple App Store and on Google Play.
Group A for qualifying on the track right now. 8 minutes left to go in this session. From Circuit of the Americas, this is PRN, the Performance Racing Network.
Hey, race fans, we can't wait to see you right here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway for a wicked fast, wicked fun, fall-tastic weekend this September as we host New England's only NASCAR playoffs weekend with lots of fun activities, premium experiences, thrilling racing, and of course, one of the best NASCAR camping experiences around. Cup, trucks, mods, and it's locked in for this September. Keep an eye on NHMS.com, September 19th through the 21st, New England's big track.
Are you the next big star ready to rock Music City's NASCAR stage? Nashville Superspeedway is launching a search for one incredible local artist or band to headline the 2025 NASCAR Weekend Pre-Race Concert. The top 10 will face off in a fan vote with a final showdown on Broadway in front of celebrity judges. Join the ranks of Music City's best and submit your performance video at NashvilleSuperspeedway.com by March 6th for your chance to be Nashville's next rising star.
Welcome back to Circuit of the Americas. We have a couple of Trackhouse teammates out on the circuit right now. Connor Zilic trying to make another fast lap after he feels like he left a little bit out there on the racetrack. And the man we have been waiting for, Shane Van Gisbergen, is now past the timing line. He's headed down the front straightaway with his number 88 WeatherTech Trackhouse Chevrolet, crossing the start-finish line and heading up the hill to Rob Albright.
Showing a lot of confidence and coming out late for a single qualifying lap is Shane Van Gisbergen down through the gearbox, fourth to third to second, all the way to first. Now he's up through the gears very smoothly off turn number 2. As always, doesn't look fast, Doug, but that often means it is very fast.
Yeah, his teammate Connor Zilic just came through a moment ago, slinging through the S's. Now Shane Van Gisbergen right over the rumble strips at 3, 4, and now 5. Doesn't push the limits too hard there, but looks very smooth. No tire slip-ups or lock-ups here through turn 6 as he gears down for 6A, goes right to the inside and exits outside.
Watching SVG exit 6A, also watching Connor Zilic down here in turn number 15 as he makes his exit. Here comes SVG into turn 12. Hard left-hand corner there. Zilic now just making his way underneath the bridge. We watch SVG back here in turns number 13. Nice and smooth for his machine. Touches the bricks there on the right-hand side of 14 down into 15. SVG, will he be the man to beat? I guess we're getting ready to find out as he heads to the Arco Park Bridge.
He's got to negotiate turns 16, 17, and 18 before he hits that timing line. Here's that white, red, and black Chevrolet up off the corner, back on the throttle, and he flashes by the alternate start-finish line. What's the lap time for Shane Van Gisbergen?
So Van Gisbergen has tripped the timing light, and we're waiting to see. He is number 2. Suarez still quicker than SVG. Suarez lap 98.482 to Van Gisbergen 98.519.
Right now, Mark, with 4.5 minutes left in Group A's qualifying session, 3 Trackhouse cars are in the top 5. Daniel Suarez right now on the as the fastest one. Shane Van Gisbergen second quick. Connor Zilic fifth quick. The 4th Trackhouse car will be in group number 2. That's Ross Chastain, who, by the way, Ross Chastain has the Busch Light Chevrolet out there. Part of his paint scheme, Mark, they actually have the Longhorns painted on the hood. You know, sort of Boss Hogg style, but when in Texas, right?
Absolutely. Hook 'em horns, baby. That's what he's got to do tomorrow. Hook 'em horns.
Yeah, we've got a couple more cars out on the track right now. Looks like Spire Motorsports being represented with Justin Haley trying to make a quick lap. A few more that are going out as well, Rob Albright. So I'll tell you what, let's pick up Ryan Preece, who's out on the course right now. Pat, I think he is headed to you.
Yeah, watching Ryan Preece, also watching a couple of cars back away and let Preece do his thing as he enters turn number 12. Right behind him is A.J. Allmendinger going for a lap here as we watch a little bit further up. Here comes the 60 car. Preece working his way through turns 12, a little bit wide there on turn 13. So he's going to have to make up some ground down here in turn number 15. Back up through the throttle he will go. Behind him, once again, A.J. Allmendinger and Ty Dillon also working their way. Here's Buescher.
As he makes his way off turn number 16, that seafoam green, black, and white Ford, and Ryan Preece will hit that timing line and get his qualifying lap in. Just a gap behind him is A.J. Allmendinger. We'll find out what the Dinger's got. He now flies by the timing line, stands on the brakes in turn number 19. Kicks a little dirt in the air, lets the car drift wide. A.J. Allmendinger begins a flyer lap as he's in turn number 20.
So A.J. Allmendinger currently 3rd overall against Shane Van Gisbergen, 2nd. Suarez on top. The difference between them, 27 thousandths of a second. So pretty tight right there.
Yeah, we have a lot of cars out there on the circuit right now. Alex Bowman is back out. He's been very fast. William Byron back out trying to get up to speed. They have time to get around this circuit, Mark, and hit that timing line again. Still 2.5 minutes left in this qualifying session, and everyone trying to make a run for the pole. Again, it is one whole round of qualifying. They're separated into 2 groups, but this is not you try and make the top 5 in your group and go on to round 2. This is it. Once the clock gets to 0 for Group A here in this one round of qualifying, that's the lap. That is what's going to determine their starting lineup. Hearing Daniel Suarez is going to be going back out as well, Mark.
That's interesting. So Suarez believes that he needs to maybe protect that lap that he just made, or maybe perhaps run a little bit quicker. And again, Suarez just barely beat his teammate Shane Van Gisbergen. Again, the gap between 1 and 2 right now, 27 thousandths of a second.
Yeah, we've got 1 minute, 45 seconds left. Now, all they have to do is cross that timing line before the clock hits 0, and they can go out there and make a hot lap. So Alex Bowman is on the course. He's been very fast here today at Circuit of the Americas. He is crossing the start-finish line, headed up the hill to Rob.
Maybe among the more underrated road racers in the Cup Series is Alex Bowman. He'll go down through the gears right to the bottom of the racetrack, that point that marks the apex of the inside of turn number 1. Now he's up through the gears once more, off of turn number 2 and headed to Doug.
Nearly the winner here in 2022. Alex Bowman goes into turn number 3, down the hill, still in 3rd gear. Once he gets down through turn 5, he's going to shift down to 2nd to the top of turn 6. You can almost hear the car backfire as he downshifts again to turn 6A. Smooth lap here for the Ally Chevy.
He's working his way over to 6B. Once again, kind of has to really woe the car up there, lets it drift way out, almost into the grass, kicks up a little bit of dust off of 6B, working his way to turn number 12. Left-hand corner here, through the gearbox, up again, hold 2nd gear in turn number 13. The Ally Chevy now on a hot lap as he works over to turn number 14, and he'll make his way to 15. Behind him, we can see William Byron also working his car into turn number 12. Here comes Bowman off of turn number 15 to the bridge.
The winner on the streets of Chicago in July of a year ago, Alex Bowman now works his way through turn 16, now 17. He's got to negotiate the right-hand kink turn number 18, and he hits the timing line.
So Alex Bowman was 9th overall going into this lap. We'll have to see if he actually is able to move up. The answer is no.
Tough for Alex Bowman. William Byron is 6 quick after his lap. Daniel Suarez is back out on the circuit, but he doesn't really have to do anything, we don't think, Mark, because the clock has gone to 0. Anyone who has already crossed that timing line in front of Alex Hayden can complete the lap that they're on, however.
Suarez trying to squeeze out a little bit more speed to give him maybe a little bit more to hold on to that top spot. And right now he is still showing in the green, a little bit quicker by just a few thousandths of a second, but hey, you never know. And Suarez, we'll see if he is able to complete his run a little bit quicker, and it doesn't look like he will. Not that far off his fast lap, but just a little bit slower.
Well, he's still out on the circuit in front of Pat Patterson.
Yeah, he's making his way into turn 15. The thing I notice about his car is he gets probably one of the best free rolls through the apex of a corner now as he heads by the bridge.
Here he comes into turn number 16. At the very least, if he does not improve his lap time, he gets another lap on this new 2.4-mile configuration. Here's Daniel Suarez across the timing line.
All right, we'll see if Daniel Suarez can actually go faster on that lap. If he does, great. That will help him because we still have Group B to go out, and we could actually have 10 drivers in Group B go faster than Daniel Suarez. This isn't an outside or a pole position yet. We still have to get through the second half of the field in Group B, Mark.
What we can safely say is that A.J. Allmendinger is the only guy in Group 1 that has a chance at the pole position right now. So, again, our top 5 after Group 1, Daniel Suarez, Shane Van Gisbergen, A.J. Allmendinger, Ty Gibbs, and Connor Zilisch.
This is Kyle Petty for Echo Park Automotive. As you might imagine, I know a thing or two about cars, and I'm here to tell you about a whole new way to buy a car, truck, or SUV. Did you know that Echo Park Automotive has over 95,000 5-star reviews? On top of that, every car that Echo Park Automotive sells goes through a 190-point inspection to make sure that it looks and drives like new, so you leave happy. It's even in their name, Echo Park Automotive. Every car, happy owner. The official used car dealer of Speedway Motorsports.
It's not about the cars, the speed, the action. It's not about the party or the long weekend. It's about them. The ones that gave everything. This Memorial Day weekend, we honor the fallen at America's Home for Racing. The 66th running of the Coca-Cola 600.
We are less than 5 minutes away from Group B for our round of qualifying at Circuit of the Americas to go out. Right now, Daniel Suarez has the top spot. Can he hold it? We'll find out when we come back to Circuit of the Americas. This is PRN, the Performance Racing Network.
We saw a lot of chaos in the closing laps of the race. So just trying to minimize that, make it more about a race than people just using each other up.
I think it's needed. It was needed at all the road courses. While I don't think it's going to be a home run, I think that it'll be in the right direction.
So many opportunities to either be really good or make mistakes, and they can start adding up on you quick.
For the latest NASCAR news without a restrictor plate, it's PRN's Garage Pass. For the station near you, check us out at goprn.com.
Hi, this is PRN's David Stiles. Join me each week when I head over to JC's Garage to talk NASCAR.
As of right now, if I were to name my top 5, I could tell you Chase Elliott wouldn't be in that top 5 with this next-gen car. He has a lot to prove on the road courses with this next-gen car, but I still don't think there's a real out-front leader. I think Tyler Reddick has been outstanding.
That's JC's Garage, wherever you find your favorite podcasts.
Welcome back to Circuit of the Americas. We're about to hear engines fire on pit road as Group B goes out for their qualifying session. Daniel Suarez from Group A currently holds the top spot. Drivers that we'll see going out, Ross Chastain, Kyle Larson, Kyle Busch, Chase Elliott, to name a few. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. This is PRN, the Performance Racing Network. Welcome back to Circuit of the Americas alongside Mark Garrow. My name is Brad Gilley. Joining us in the turns, Rob Albright, Doug Turnbull, Pat Patterson, and Alex Hayden. Covering pit road for us in qualifying today, Wendy Venturini and Heather DeBow. Brett McMillan will join us coming up at 2 o'clock Eastern time for the NASCAR Xfinity Series Focused Health 250. The top 10 from Group A, Daniel Suarez, Shane Van Gisbergen, A.J. Allmendinger, Ty Gibbs, Connor Zilisch, followed by William Byron, Noah Gragson, Chase Briscoe, Alex Bowman, and Chris Buescher. And Mark, will Daniel Suarez claim the pole position, or is someone from Group B going to best him? Let's find out what Suarez himself has to say with Heather DeBow.
Yeah, here with Daniel Suarez right now, and we saw you go out and make a lap, and then you rested for a little bit and waited, and you went out for that second one anyway, just to see if you could maybe give yourself a buffer for this Group 2 coming up. But how is your race car? Are you happy with it?
The race car is good. It's very good. The guys, everyone in Trackhouse have done a tremendous job. The car has good speed. There is always something you can do better, right? I mean, it's a long lap, but I feel like there is a tenth or two more out there. I feel like we initiated our lap okay, and we ended it good. So I wish maybe I prepared my tires a little bit more, but you know, everyone is different. So overall, very proud of our team, Freeway Insurance, Coca-Cola, everyone that's helped us our program for help us be competitive today.
Now, COTA is a lot of fun, but something else fun that you did this week, you got to go down to Mexico, and you and Blaney, you guys were in the ring as wrestlers, and just kind of describe how much fun you guys had during your visit in Mexico this week.
It was amazing. You know, obviously, I've been in Mexico a million times. I grew up there. I was born there. But it's not every day that I get to get my amigos here and show them my home, you know, the culture of my country, food, the lucha libre, all those kind of things. I was very proud to show them around, and we had a great time.
Next time, can you take us with you?
Next time, I'm going to take the entire garage, so I'm looking forward to that.
We'll be there. See you there.
Yep, he's taking the whole gang next time to Mexico City.
Well, he's right. Motor Racing Network will be covering the Mexico City race, which is going to be exciting. And Alex Hayden, who is joining us here this week on the Performance Racing Network, which we're excited about. I'll be honest with you, Alex, when we get to summertime and we get to head south of the border, it is definitely going to be an exciting one. Oh, we'll check in with Alex. He might be taking a little break here as we've got cars going back out, Mark, for Group B in their qualifying session.
Let's give a complete rundown again of Group 1. Suarez the quickest, Van Gisbergen, Allmendinger, Ty Gibbs, Connor Zilisch top 5, William Byron was 6th, followed by Noah Gragson 7th, Chase Briscoe 8th, 9th Alex Bowman, 10th was Chris Buescher.
11th was Brad Keselowski, Ryan Preece 12th, 13th Justin Haley, Cole Custer 14th, 15th was Eric Jones, Ty Dillon 16th, Josh Berry 17th. The only driver I heard in that session get a track limits violation, by the way. Austin Cindric 18th, Cody Ware was 19th, but now we're about to get these cars underneath the green flag. They are warming up their tires. They're making their way around this circuit. This is a fresh set of Goodyear Eagle tires, Mark, that they have on these cars. They'll be able to transfer these over into the race should they need them, but right now they're going to try and get the most out of them that they absolutely can. So we've got cars now coming through turn 19 and up to turn number 20. Cars are under the green flag right now as they had crossed the timing line. 2023 champion Ryan Blaney is going to lead this pack as he heads up the hill toward turn number 1.
Struggled in the first practice session. Crew chief Jonathan Hassler and the guys tweaked on it a little bit. He got better in the second session. He'll now charge into turn number 1 all the way down to first gear. Tail happy. The car swings a little bit wide. A little bit of dirt track action through turn 1 for Ryan Blaney.
Can't miss him. He's in that Dayglow yellow Menards number 12. Ryan Blaney through turn 3, right over the rumble strips, then through the short exchange between turns 4 and 5. Hooked up there with black colors on the hood of that car. Ryan Blaney goes to turn 6 and downshifts to first gear. Hard left-hander smoothly through 6A.
Here comes Blaney out of 6B and onto the back stretch here as he works his way out next to the grass. Gets it down into turn number 12. Nothing in front of him to cause him any problems or slow him down. Lets the car drift out wide as he sets up for turn 13. Driver number 12 now into turn 13. Front right tires hits the rumble strip. Now pull the car back over to the right for 14 and into the bottom of the race course here in the stadium course as he exits turn number 15. Smooth lap so far for Ryan Blaney.
Blaney now underneath the bridge. Here he is into turn number 16. That highlighter, yellow and black Menards Ford exits the corner. He'll hit the timing line. Ryan Blaney, big wiggle as he makes his way down towards the finish line.
And Ryan Blaney is going to be coming back across or diving onto pit road. We'll have to wait and see. As he does that, though, let's pick up another car. Trackhouse has been very strong at Circuit of the Americas. Here's the 2022 winner, Ross Chastain, headed toward you, Rob.
Ross Chastain up 13 stories from the start-finish line to turn number 1. The car looks good. Carson Hocevar just went through here. He looked extremely smooth through 1 and 2. So does Ross. He'll now bend it right, 60-degree turn.
And that red, white, and blue Busch Light Chevrolet, Ross Chastain, coming through the S's now, goes right over the rumble strips and turns 3, 4, and 5, shimmying that car along does Ross Chastain, who's pulling double duty today, got extra laps yesterday when he qualified second for the Xfinity race.
Ross Chastain now works his way between 6A and 6B, exits 6B, lets the car drift out, kick up a little bit of dust. We'll see more of that this afternoon. He works the number 1 car down to the bottom of turn number 12, makes that hard left-hand corner. Just a little bit too wide there. I don't know if that hurt him or not, or he just deliberately went out a little bit wide off of 12 to set up for 13. Now Ross Chastain pulls on the wheel back through turns number 14, drives into the corner down here in 15. We'll try to apex that and let that car do its thing coming up here to the Echo Park Bridge.
He's going to balance that car right at the right side of turn number 16. Here comes the Busch Light Chevrolet. Got the horns painted across the nose of that race car. Back in, kicks sideways, gathers it back up. He flashes by the timeline, sets up for turn 19. Big question mark now. Does he keep his foot in it? Does he come to pit lane? It'll be the latter. Ross Chastain will head to pit road.
Ross Chastain, 6th overall. Carson Hocevar has taken over the number 1 spot. He is going to be able to beat Daniel Suarez. Shane Van Gisbergen from Group 2. Kyle Busch is currently 4th. Kyle Larson 5th. As I mentioned, Chastain 6th. And Denny Hamlin might have been sandbagging us in practice. He is now 7th overall.
Christopher Bell out on the circuit in front of you, Doug Turnbull.
He's coming through turn 6 right now. The DeWalt Toyota, the winner at Atlanta Motor Speedway, almost won this race a year ago. It gets smoothly through 6A in front of you, Pat.
C. Bell exits 6B. Again, the car drifts out there down the backstretch. He works his way down into turn number 12. Hard left-hand corner. Nice recovery there, letting the car drift out just enough. In turn number 13, up the hill he goes. Chase Elliott behind him, working out. Here's Bell through turns number 14. Lets that car point directly down towards 15. Will swing out wide as he makes a left-hand corner and drives off that corner very hard now up by the Echo Park Bridge.
He makes his way into turn 16. That's a right-hand turn. Turns the steering wheel, gets the back end of the car to now just move a little bit to driver's left to give him a straight exit up off of turn 17 and now 18. Christopher Bell under the timing line. He'll complete that lap. Takes the car wide off turn 19. He's going to stay on the race course. Christopher Bell now wants another lap.
Last year, one of the fastest cars here at COTA. A different bit of pit strategy from our race winner, William Byron. You have to wonder, though, had they had a couple more laps, how that would have changed. Riley Herbst, a track limits violation in turn 3. But let's check out C. Bell once again, Rob.
Well, he'll try to improve this time in turn number 1. The last time by didn't look great, didn't look horrible. Better exit off of the corner. Again, he slides a little bit sideways, using every bit of racetrack as he charges into turn 2.
An accomplished road racer himself, Christopher Bell from Norman, Oklahoma, comes through the rumble strips of turns 3 and 4 there in third gear. But as he crests the hill to the apex of turn 6, right there, downshift to second gear. And then he's going to square up for turn 6A and get down into first. Clean corner there, but he doesn't get all out of it, Pat.
Yeah, we talk about connecting the corners, and Bell does exactly that off of turn number 6B down into turn 12. Let that car roll as much as you can. Get back to the gas as quick as you can. Works his way up the hill. There is some elevation over here in the stadium area of the course, and this is where the majority of the fans can sit here and watch all of the action. Bell through 14 now. Down the hill. He races into 15. Blocks up the brakes just a little bit there. Don't know if that's going to hurt him or not as he works his way to the bridge.
As he makes his way into turn number 16, Christopher Bell now under braking, feathers the throttle back into the car, far less twitchy this time by as he's back on the throttle, comes by the timing line, lets the car drift way wide, and he'll get on the brakes for turn number 19. He's got a couple of consecutive hot laps here. See what Christopher Bell elects to do. He'll take the car to the pit lane.
Thank you very much, Alex. 23-11 racing, very fast. Mark, I mentioned Riley Herbst had a track limits violation. He was the fastest out on the circuit. His time, however, being showed as 0.00 because of that penalty. Tyler Reddick is the fastest, though. His teammate, Bubba Wallace, third quick. We talked about last year the performance Bubba Wallace had, and this has been a long work in progress for him when it comes to turning left and right, but it's also one that he's really put some discipline to, and it's showing up on the racetrack.
Well, for Bubba last year, you can say he finally finished at COTA. He was 15th at the checkered flag, which was, for him, great because the first three races, he never finished. He was a DNF. So Bubba finally finished at COTA, had a good run last year, and looks like he's backing it up again.
Yeah, doing a great job for sure. So Tyler Reddick is the fastest so far, followed by Bubba Wallace, Carson Hocevar, Daniel Suarez, Shane Van Gisbergen, your top five here at Circuit of the Americas.
When it comes to maintaining your engine to run at peak performance, trust ZMAX Micro Lubricant. ZMAX soaks into metal, so it's easy to add to your oil or gas to disperse carbon buildup in your engine, fuel system, and transmission. Protect your vehicle's engine to the max with ZMAX. Check us out at zmax.com or visit us on Facebook and Twitter to find out more about our full line of products. Remember the name ZMAX for your car, big rig, small engines, firearms, and more. That's ZMAX Micro Lubricant.
Hi, it's PRN's Brad Gilley. Did you know you could take PRN with you anywhere? That's right. By downloading the PRN mobile app, you can listen to our live race broadcast from anywhere. Make sure you don't miss a second of the action from the track. Download today for station listings and on-demand access to your favorite studio shows like Fast Talk, The Pit Reporters, or Garage Pass. Get all the latest racing information at your fingertips with the PRN mobile app. Download today, available in the Apple App Store and on Google Play.
Just under 10 minutes left in this 20-minute qualifying session for Group B in the Echo Park Automotive Grand Prix. Currently on the pole, Tyler Reddick, followed by his 23-11 racing teammate, Bubba Wallace. This is PRN, the Performance Racing Network.
Start your engine! Reddick goes right to the bottom of the racetrack. Chastain tries to hold on the outside.
Truex on the inside, Byron in the middle, Chastain up high.
Hamlin now beginning to come to the front. He's got the edge now. He'll take the lead away.
Brian Blaney sliding down into the grass. There was a lot of bumping and grinding, and Blaney noses into the infield retaining wall.
Ross Chastain doing a great job. Truex right there, big in his mirror as they race down the backstretch here.
Harrison Burton is spinning down the back straightaway. Everybody going to the top side.
Here comes Kyle Larson. Larson dives to the bottom of the racetrack. He wants to lead all four.
Chris Buescher has the advantage and a spin off of turn 4.
Yeah, we've got a ton of cars that are in this one, and Larson is certainly one of those cars.
Trouble coming out of turn 4. Hamlin is sideways. The car spins down on the apron of the racetrack.
Byron takes that brightly painted number 24 to the front. He gets a big shove from Daniel Suarez.
This is PRN.
Back here at Circuit of the Americas, where 2311 has taken the top 2 spots here at qualifying in Austin, Texas. Bubba Wallace, second on that chart right now. Bubba, did that lap surprise you based on what you had to deal with in practice?
What are you saying? I was all over the place in practice? We're finding our limits, and, I think I appreciate all the effort we put in this week. I wish I could say it. Some of it translated, but a lot of it didn't. Our pace was so fast on the sim. So you come here thinking you have a good idea, and you try that, and you get the result of practice. So we really debriefed hard during these 2 rounds to figure out what we needed. And I just followed my buddy, Reddick, and I didn't know where the time stacked up. I knew that was my fastest time of the day. When they said that was second, that was good, but I instantly got pissed because I figured it was him that beat me, and I looked, and it was. But all in all, just a good effort from us, from our team, all 3 teams. It's
it's different now having a third car and having more information to rely on. But all in all, our Mobile One Toyota Camry is, I can say, okay. We nailed it for qualifying right now. We'll see what we got for tomorrow.
I've heard you also say now, as a veteran team member, they listen to your feedback a little bit more strongly maybe. Is that the case even in practice and qualifying?
Yeah, I'd say here we're all listening to Tyler, right? I think it was more so of calling out Denny for not listening to me when I say, hey, I got the same issues. But no, it's a role that I got to accept. I mean, it happens. We all get older, right? We're not stopping that. And you learn a lot through life. And I will say it was nice having all of my mess-ups in practice and not caring. I was fine. I was laughing. And a year ago, I would have been pissed off, throwing my gloves, trying to figure it all out. But I like the new me so far.
I do, too. That's Bubba Wallace, and he's second here at COTA.
All right, thank you very much, Wendy Venturini. The only car that has not gone out yet is out there on the course right now. That would be Front Row Motorsports' Zane Smith, and he would be in front of Doug Turnbull.
Coming through turn 3 right now, the beginning of the S's here. Let's keep it on course, Zane, and he shimmies through, gets some a little bit of lift in those wheels as he gets that car off balance, and now he downshifts again into turn 6A to make that hard left-hand turn.
Yeah, watching him now work, Zane Smith working off of 6B and down the backstretch. Didn't look that good of a lap right here. We'll see what his time is. He works down into turn number 12, but to seemingly the balance on his car not quite right. Looks much better working up to turn number 13. Zane Smith with a right-hander now works back over to the right again with the tires now down into turn number 15. Zane Smith, a blue and white car for him today. He works now up here towards the Echo Park Bridge. He'll get over here to number 16. Let that car, has to check up with it a little bit, feather that brake just a little bit as he heads to that start-finish line for a time.
I don't know what he is going to wind up with, but there was too much left and right on the straightaway for Zane Smith. Kind of wobbled his way between a couple of turns and now a little bit off the track.
All right, so Zane Smith out there on the course. Remember, he is a former winner here at Circuit of the Americas in the Truck Series. He's midway through the pack. He is 20th out there, and it looks like he's going to make another lap and see if he can do something to better that, Rob.
You know, the way it was described by my cohorts didn't seem to be a very good lap, but mid-pack, not too bad. He'll get to turn number 1 and get off of the brake and onto the throttle much more rapidly than he did the previous lap this time, up through the gears as he charges off turn 2.
Exits wide there, but then he's got to set up for turn 3. Then it's right over the rumble strips with all 4 tires. Same at turn 4. And he wiggles a little bit coming off of 4 and 5 there. Keeps those tires on the ground. And then a little bit of wheel spin coming through turn 6. He's got to downshift again there and get set to exit 6A.
Does appear to be a bit quicker now through that section of the race course as he works down here to turn number 12, Zane Smith. The car we're talking about into turn 12. Gets that gearbox down where it needs to be, gets back on the gas hard up here to turn number 13. And it would appear, again, as he hits the chip limiter, you can hear it there in the background, as he moves over here to the right-hand side of the track in 14 and down to 15. Zane Smith, I would say, appears to have a quicker lap. We'll have to see exactly how it works. He gets up under the Echo Park Bridge, has to feather the throttle through turn number 16, a long right-hander there as he'll head to that timing line to see if it's a better lap.
All right, let's see what Zane Smith can do. Again, a former Truck Series winner here at Circuit of the Americas. 3.5 minutes left in this section. Riley Herbst just made his way back out onto the track as well after that track limits violation. Zane Smith did better himself by 1 position, 19th quick mark, right in front of Alex Bowman, who we know is very fast when it comes to turning left and right.
We have at this point 3 minutes, 20 seconds and counting left in this second qualifying session, this for group number 2. And currently 8 of the top 10 have come from group number 2. Reddick, Wallace, Hocevar, Suarez quickest in group 1, followed by Van Gisbergen, they're 4th and 5th. And the next 5 drivers all come from group number 2, Kyle Busch, Kyle Larson, Ross Chastain, Todd Gilliland, and Denny Hamlin.
Yeah, a couple of 2311 Racing teammates out on the circuit right now. Riley Herbst, again, he has to make a qualifying lap because of a track limits violation. His 2 teammates, Tyler Reddick, Bubba Wallace, number 1 and 2. Tyler Reddick is back out on the circuit right now. I think Bubba Wallace, if you're his crew chief, Charles DeNike, you're probably saying, you know what? That was a good enough lap. Let's not go back out there and chance it. No matter what, they're going to start likely right now, Mark, top 3. Of course, that could change as we still have 2 minutes and 20 seconds left in this single round of qualifying with group number 2.
And we see now hustling down the front stretch and climbing the hill now to turn number 1, Ryan Blaney.
Ryan appeared to be as wide off turn 20 as anybody we've seen all afternoon long, so he's trying to improve on a mediocre first qualifying effort. He'll do so as he now moves off turn 2 and heads to 3.
He comes down the hill into 3, gets woed down a bit, then picks up speed, and then woes down again through turn 4 as he slaloms through 4 and 5, then up the hill, downshifted here right over the rumble strips to the right-hand side of the car, and then hard to the left with those left side tires into 6A.
Blaney in that short chute over to 6B now, makes that left-hand corner, drives his car right out to the grass, kicks up a little bit of dirt as he brings it into turn at number 12. Left-hand corner here, back up through the gearbox to get up to turn number 13. We'll try to work to the outside here to get a good entrance into 13. Front right tires right on that rumble strip. Hits turn number 14. Blaney now working the final part of his lap into turn number 15. Gets a nice exit there, out to the rumble strips and up to the bridge.
Here is Ryan Blaney back to driver's right, turn number 16. Hugs the red and white rumble strips, crosses them on the double apex, makes his way through 17, back in, slides just a bit through 18. Ryan Blaney flashes by the timing line and completes his lap.
So Ryan Blaney, let's see where he will pop up on the board. Still waiting for that time for Ryan Blaney to come up. He won't like it. 24th overall.
Ooh, that is tough. His teammate out there in front of you, Rob.
Yeah, it's Joey Logano, and he's been awfully quiet in the practice sessions this afternoon, and thus far in qualifying has not shown us much either. He'll work his way through turn number 2 and head for the S's.
And looked a little wide exiting turn 2. Let's see how he gets into 3 right here, right over the rumble strip. Same through turn 4. Keeps that car straight. Not a lot of wiggle in the double deuce here for Joey Logano here as he kind of goes up and down the hill through 6 and then downshifts. Let's see how he gets through 6A. Yep, paints that red line to the inside.
Here comes the 3-time champ once again exiting 6B onto the back stretch. Lets that car really go out there and eat a little grass before he blows it up in turn number 12. Gets a good exit there, stays not too wide, doesn't give up too much time over to the right, turn number 13, back to the right now, and again back to the right for turn number 14. Logano taking the typical and usual Pennzoil colors on his number 22 into turn number 15. Here comes Joey Logano back up through the gearbox through the bridge.
Here's Logano into turn number 16. He is not willing the car around. He's just simply guiding that Shell Pennzoil forward through turn 16, 17, and now off of 18. Joey Logano flies by the timing line. Heads for turn number 19, goes very wide indeed off 19, and he'll go out of the throttle and back to pit lane.
Time has expired for qualifying here at Circuit of the Americas. A couple of cars still out there ready to hit that timing line one more time. One of them is Ross Chastain, and Mark, it looked like he was drifting through here. In fact, he's got the Longhorns on the front of his car. I'm pretty sure he went through here Dukes of Hazzard style.
He was drifting into the grandstands at one point. Didn't know if it was going to stop. I mean, that was a four-wheel slide. And, again, we're looking to see if anybody has been able to be out on the racetrack. I guess John Hunter Nemechek is out there now. Austin Dillon is out there as well. They were able to get across the timing line before the zeros popped up to end this qualifying session. But it looks like Tyler Reddick has won the pole position. Bubba Wallace's teammate will start second in the Echo Park Automotive Grand Prix. It is the 10th overall career pole position for Reddick, second at Coda, first in 2025.
Past them, Chase Elliott, the inaugural winner here, will start third. Carson Hocevar backing up a runner-up finish in Atlanta. He will start fourth. Daniel Suarez starts fifth. Shane Van Gisbergen rolls off sixth. Kyle Larson will start seventh. Kyle Busch will start eighth. Ross Chastain, the 2022 winner, will start ninth. 10th will be Todd Gilliland.
Then Denny Hamlin 11th. A.J. Allmendinger 12th. 13th, Ty Gibbs. Connor Zilisch will be 14th. 15th, William Byron. 16th, Michael McDowell. Noah Gregson, 17th. Chase Briscoe, 18th. Christopher Bell, 19th. 20th, Zane Smith.
Alex Bowman, very fast in practice, but he'll roll off 21st. Tomorrow, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., 22nd. Joey Logano will be 23rd. Chris Buescher, 24th. Ryan Blaney, 25th. Brad Keselowski, 26th. 27th will be Austin Dillon. 28th will be Ryan Preece. Justin Haley, 29th. And Cole Custer will start 30th.
Then Riley Herbston, 31st. Eric Jones, 32nd. John Hunter Nemechek, 33rd. Ty Dillon, 34th. 35th, Josh Berry. Austin Cindric, big surprise there. He'll be 36th. And then 37th, Cody Ware.
Want to encourage you to stick around here with the Performance Racing Network. Coming up in 35 minutes, 2 o'clock Eastern Time, the Focused Health 250 Xfinity Series race, where teammates at Junior Motorsports, Connor Zilic and Ross Chastain, will start on the front row. That's 2 o'clock Eastern Time. Tomorrow, it's the Echo Park Automotive Grand Prix. 2:30 Eastern Time is when the Performance Racing Network will go on the air. 2311 Racing will hold the top 2 spots, the front row. Tyler Reddick, who you will hear from momentarily, he will start from the pole. His teammate Bubba Wallace on the outside pole. And Mark, a lot of action out there on the circuit. We saw cars going off course. We didn't really see any carnage, if you will. No dented fenders or quarter panels or anything. I have a feeling here in about 30 minutes when the green flag drops for the Xfinity Series Focused Health 250, all of that's about to change.
No doubt about it. I am just fascinated and intrigued what we'll see down there in 6A. With that barrier right there, sharp left-hand turn after coming through that little crossover now that we have. They call it the new road and the new rodeo here at COTA, so it'll see how it'll play out here a little bit later on. It'll be fun to watch. So let's go down to Wendy Venturini.
An all 2311 front row here with Tyler Reddick on the pole for the second time here at COTA. Tyler, I already interviewed your teammate, Bubba Wallace, who said he just followed your line. Could you feel him and following that line, and you were able to one-up him here at qualifying today?
Well, you know, I was curious to see what he said after I got out of the car. I was worried that I messed his lap up, honestly. Definitely, I think he had a much better 19-20 in turn 1 to start the lap. Kind of from there, though, I kind of pulled it together and had a really good S, as it felt like, and a good stadium section. So just really cool to be able to put this V's Toyota Camry on the front row. I get my second career pole here. You know, obviously it's a long race. Qualifying is only the start of it, but nonetheless, it was really cool to see just the improvement from practice start for all the 2311 Camrys to practice in, and then be able to go into qualifying and put laps down like that.
What have you been able to take away so far today with the change of the configuration, with what you battled in practice to apply for Sunday's race?
Well, you know, coming into this, I was worried how I was going to stack up. I really felt like 2 of my best corners, you know, one was taken away in turn 11, and turn 12 is totally different. So I was definitely concerned coming into the weekend, you know, how I was going to stack up to some of the other drivers that are in this field. But yeah, didn't get the clean start we wanted to in practice, that's for sure. We're really fighting the handling on our car, but everyone here on this 45 did a great job on adjustments, and yeah, just really cool to be able to put that together.
Awesome. Congratulations. That's Tyler Reddick on the pole here at COTA for the second time in his career.
Thank you very much, Wendy Venturini, and thanks to everyone who tuned in. I want to thank our broadcast crew. Pit reporters were Wendy Venturini and Heather DeBow. Out in the turns, Rob Albright, Doug Turnbull, Alex Hayden, and Pat Patterson. Our engineers, Harold Hamrick, Bill Parrott, and Ben Blevins. Our director is Laura Beth Barnhart. Sales and marketing, Jerry Horn, Alexis Erickson, Hank Lee, Barry Roach, David Stiles, and Caleb Whistler. Production is Kent Bernhardt. For Mark Garrow, my name is Brad Gilley. We will be back 30 minutes from now, 2 o'clock Eastern Time. The Focused Health 250 Xfinity Series race tomorrow. The Echo Park Automotive Grand Prix, 2:30 Eastern. Make sure you tune in to all of our great stations that carry broadcasting here on the Performance Racing Network.
Practice and qualifying for the Echo Park Automotive Grand Prix has been an exclusive presentation of PRN, the Performance Racing Network.